When are we live now? Okay. Hello and welcome back to a brand new episode of the Pick a Side podcast. My name is Joel Moran and I'm here with Andrew Velez and Joe Dehls. And this is episode 239. In this episode, we're going to recap the biggest games from Week 15, debate Trevor Lawrence versus Justin Fields, give our picks for Week 16, and more. These live shows just keep getting better and better. Shout out to everybody in the chat. I believe we already have a donation.
Do?
From who else?
Oh,
Santos,
the GOAT.
Brother,
the legend.
our brother
GOAT.
Santos, man. That's really our
Top
dog.
5
Santos, man. Hoodie's on the way, bro. Don't you worry.
Facts.
Week
Celtics.
15 was one of the crazier weeks of the NFL season.
It was nuts.
It was pretty insane.
It was very nuts.
3 teams blew 17-point leads. The Vikings came back
They did.
from a historic deficit.
The largest comeback in NFL history.
We're going to talk about the Vikings on this show for sure. I feel like after what they just did, the respect level might have to go a little bit more up.
Oh, you think so?
That team.
You think so?
Really?
With Captain Kirk.
Was it impressive? For sure. Am I looking at it like it was the Indianapolis Colts and the Indianapolis Colts are extremely sorry? I am also looking at it that way. Is that fair? I feel like I'm allowed to do that.
Yeah.
If you give up the largest comeback in NFL history,
Can't be that great.
you
right?
got to be pretty. You got to be pretty bad.
It's a shame, man. Matt Ryan just keeps getting the short end of the stick.
Think so?
Short him the
Great
stick.
Hall of Fame career.
He's washed.
His
It's
defense
fine.
is just not holding up.
Okay, stop it right there. Stop it right there.
You held him to 0 points.
Because
first half.
we literally just had this whole conversation about how Indianapolis defense is really good. The secondary's been really solid. Stephon Gilmore's
top
been
10
really
defense.
good. Relax. All right.
They choked in the second
Relax.
half,
It's
though.
not the defense. Oh, they did. They did. I wouldn't even say that, honestly. How many opportunities did the offense have? Especially Kirk threw a pick in the second half also. They had an opportunity to put the game away. They only scored, 3 points in the second half?
No, it was embarrassing.
Like, come
It
on.
was embarrassing as hell. I'm getting us on the socials to everyone tune in. That's why I'm on my phone.
I appreciate that, Dehls. Dehls is always a promo guy.
Huge
To start
promo.
off the show, we're going to go over some Boom Fantasy picks for Thursday night's anticipated game. Jaguars versus Jets. Zach Wilson just had 300 yards, 2 touchdowns, and an L. And I told you, Dehls,
What'd
that
you tell me?
I told you this last episode. I said even if he plays well, Jets fans will be mad about it. Zach Wilson played well, and all Jets fans could blame the loss on was Zach Wilson.
Which is irresponsible. It was irresponsible.
And I know that a couple weeks ago I did say I am out on Zach Wilson. Listen, for me, I don't have any expectations for him, but what I am doing now is just calling out unfairness within how he gets treated, because I do think it's unfair. And he had a good game. Well, I thought he played well. If I were to give him a grade, it would be a C. We're going to talk about the Jets later on in the show.
Man,
I think it would be a C.
I guess I'm a little bit more lenient.
But I think he played okay. I think he played well.
Last drive alone, man, you got to give him higher than a C.
Yeah, he missed throws on that last drive too.
Hey, but the biggest throws of the
did.
game
Oh, he did.
He did make it.
Goes both
were
ways.
on that drive.
Let's throw some W's in the chat for Zach Wilson right now. Come on, let's get it.
Wait. Yeah, they win. Yeah, they win.
Just for his comeback, though, he played a good
What do
game.
you mean comeback?
A comeback from being benched.
Being benched.
Ah,
Okay,
got it,
I
got it,
you,
got
I
it,
got
got
Let's
you,
throw
I
some
got
W's in the chat for Zach Wilson, man. Let's get it going, man.
John put it perfectly.
Let's be
W
supportive
with a
of
question.
Zach Wilson. We gotta be supportive of Zach Wilson.
Listen, I want to see Zach succeed for the
sure.
bros.
Me too.
I want to see it happen.
Just want confidence at quarterback.
But
That's all I want.
listen, this was a very firm step in the right direction. He played well. He was more than serviceable. He had some questionable throws. We're gonna talk about it later.
Wow, look, all L's in the chat. You
Oh,
guys
that's
are
just rude.
disrespectful.
That's just rude.
You guys are disrespectful. My goodness.
No, bro, they're flooding. They're flooding. All right, there's one W. There's one. Woo.
Shout out to the real out there.
Bro, I'm crying.
That's
Shout out to the real out there.
Oh my God.
Now, Boom Fantasy.
John, you didn't have to do that. John threw his L in there too. Oh my God.
So many L's.
That's
I'm
crazy.
this disrespectful right now.
It is disrespectful.
Disrespectful right
It
now.
is. I won't lie. It's disrespectful. It's funny though.
Shout out to Amari Scott for the W. That's my
God.
guy.
Amari's a legend. That's
Amari,
why.
shout out.
Amari's a legend. Woo.
Boom Fantasy this Thursday's game. More lines are going to be up the day of the game. So Zach Wilson's passing yards aren't on here, but I would have definitely taken it over.
Yep.
No matter what.
No matter what.
Could have been 350. We'll take it.
So the first line we have is Trevor Lawrence over under 229.5 passing yards.
What do you think, Drew?
I took the over on this. When I made my bet slip, I did have that as the over.
I have this as an over too. I think that if Quinnen Williams doesn't play, which we're not sure if he's going to play or not.
He was limited today, right?
Yeah,
I
trending
think-
up per Salah, though.
Yeah, I think that limits our pass rush tremendously, and Trevor Lawrence is somebody who is feasting on the better defenses in the league right now. He's off to he's on a tremendous stretch right now. We're going to talk about Trevor in the show as well, so I definitely got over on that, so I'm taking the over on that. Christian Kirk, over under 53.5 receiving yards.
This one, when I made my ticket, I have this as the under. When he's played some primetime corners, he hasn't been able to hit this number. He's going against Sauce and DJ. It's going to be very tough.
The reason I have over is because he lines up in the slot the majority of the time. I think Zay Jones is going to line up with Sauce, and DJ Reed's going to take the other outside receiver. I think Kirk's matchup is going to be Michael Carter the second or the third, right? The third, right? I'm pretty sure. It's one of those. Michael Carter, the slot corner. He's really good, but I do think Christian Kirk can get the better of that matchup.
Fair enough.
That's why I'm going over. Zay Jones over under 52.5 receiving yards.
This one's tough because Zay has been eating, but to the same point that I gave for Christian Kirk, I'm feeling very similar. If you're matching up with Sauce, you're matching up with DJ, it's going to be a very tough day for you. These two are some of the best in the game right now, and I don't feel comfortable with that matchup.
No doubt. I'm going the under on Zay Jones. And last one for the Jaguars, Evan Ingram over under 46.5 receiving yards.
This, if you guys have a weakness, it's defending the tight end. I feel like Evan Ingram has been playing well these
Brock
last
Wright,
couple of
50-yard
weeks.
receiving touchdown.
Yeah, not ideal. So yeah, I'm feeling Evan Ingram's over here.
I like the over too on Evan Ingram. I do. And last one, Garrett Wilson over under 57.5 receiving
It's
yards.
another one I had in my slip. I had this as the over. Last week, Zach was in. Not a problem for him. Garrett Wilson is a future superstar.
I told Vaughn to take the over on. I mean to start Garrett.
Yeah, over Deonta Foreman. Didn't matter. Ended up losing, unfortunately. But Garrett Wilson's a future superstar.
Yeah.
He has it. The man has great
The dog.
hands, super fast. Route running is mint. I mean, he really can do it all for you guys. I feel like it. Even if Zach's in the game, I don't worry about him.
I feel like the Zach Wilson Garrett Wilson connection
Wilson to Wilson.
that people have been saying, "Oh, don't start Garrett because Zach's in the game." It was early on where Garrett and Zach didn't click, but
sure.
as of recently, the first Patriots game, the Bills game, and now the Lions game, it's been 3 games in a row, 3 out of 4 games
Facts.
where they've clicked. The last
The
Patriots
second
game,
was bad.
nothing clicked offensively for the Jets. So I think Garrett Wilson has been clicking with Zach Wilson, and that's why I'm going to go the over on Garrett. And that's our Boom Fantasy slip. We named about 4 or 5
Yep.
over-unders right there.
And we're
so
going
you
to start
can put
keeping
that
track
slip
of
in.
these, correct?
Yes. Yep. We are.
All right.
we-
What was the 0-10 nonsense? Just for the graphic, just to see how it looked?
Yeah, we wanted to see how different fonts would look.
What was that about?
I didn't create it.
That was
You gotta
messed
talk
up.
to the design guy.
They're
Boom.
gonna have to talk to me.
Okay, I'll let them know.
Unbelievable.
They,
Oh.
I sent them the new pictures too, by the way.
Yeah.
Our guy Rick had he cracked up over those 2 pictures I sent him of you and Riv, the AI ones. He was laughing hysterically at them.
Who's gonna pay for me to get my AI?
It's $10, bro.
Okay,
Come
I
on.
guess
Put it
I
on the
I
company
should've-
card.
Yeah, facts.
You should get it.
I should.
You should get it. I feel like Drew is not going to get it because he supports real-life artists.
I do.
You should get a portrait done of yourself. That's more expensive than $10. Way more.
It is. It is.
You know, I've actually heard about those AI apps. So I was watching this YouTube video from Marquise Brownlee, who does tech videos on YouTube.
He's the
big
GOAT.
time guy. Yeah, he's amazing. So that Lensa app, what they do is they're able to generate so much AI art because they're actually stealing from artists who have made similar art, and they're just putting them in a bunch of different like scenarios. So you're paying to get the AI generated, and you'll see in some of the arts they'll have like a script. It's from the actual artists, and those artists aren't getting paid.
Really.
Yeah, from
Damn, that's
those
some shit.
Not great.
pictures being generated.
AI, it says whenever you ask it, like none of the stuff I do is original. Like it
Oh, yeah, it
basically
does.
says like.
Did you do
I
it
don't
or
have-
no?
No, I haven't done the AI pictures.
Oh, okay.
I feel like at this point everyone's done them, so I'm like, well, I missed my point.
Yeah,
That's
that's
my
on
shot.
shot too.
I was
That's
one of
my
the
shot,
first
too.
ones.
You were. Now you were definitely
Yeah.
the first person I saw who did it, and then Riv did it, and then I feel like after that it was just 1,000 people did it.
That's hilarious.
Yes.
You guys can download Boom Fantasy in the link down below or click on the QR code if you're watching this on your computer from your phone. And you can download Boom Fantasy. It helps out the podcast tremendously. And before we get on to the show, we got a super chat from Aaron Feldman. Chicago Bears' future seems as bright as any with what feels like the first superstar-capable quarterback the Bears have ever had. And the draft pick, please, Jalen Carter, and $100 million future looks bright.
Definitely does look bright. You got to be excited if you're a Bears fan. I saw someone, he's a fantasy football guy. His name is Mason something. He put a tweet out, basically, in a way, kind of bashing Justin Fields, but like his record, his touchdowns, his interception, his fumbles, and said there's a above 0% chance the Bears take a quarterback at number 2 overall, wherever they end up. I find a very hard time believing the Bears will be selecting a quarterback with all the holes they have and how great Justin Fields has been. It was a really dumb tweet, I'll be honest.
Yeah, they won't draft a quarterback, not even a chance.
No.
Justin Fields
He's
has
the
been
guy.
their entire offense,
the
and
guy.
the only reason they're in games.
They would have 0 wins without him.
So I see Landon Fallon right here.
I mean,
in
even
the
when
chat.
he's been playing well, I mean, it hasn't equated to wins.
They've been close. Like, they've been competitive at least.
They have.
Landon Fallon in the chat said, please give us a 2021 redraft.
Think about
So
it.
this is what we're going to do. Right now we have 80 likes in the chat. If we get these likes up to 200, next football episode, we will do a 2021 NFL redraft.
Seems fair.
Maybe I'll take Zach Wilson top 5. Maybe I don't.
God.
It's all about fit.
I wonder-
The 49ers, Zach Wilson in San Fran, oh yeah, his career would be.
You saw Micah talking
going.
about that with Von Miller, saying that it's going to go down as one of the best draft classes ever.
Yeah.
He did not lie.
He didn't. It was just
Von
when they were-
Miller, Von
Vaughn
Miller
was-
put his up.
Yeah.
Respect.
Dude,
That
they
draft
got Hall of
class is fine.
Famers. They got Hall of
Absolutely.
Famers.
But this one, oh
Yeah.
my God.
You got
I'm-
potential.
Just
That
think
is
about it. It's
superstars.
It's Trevor. Zach and Lance are question marks
Mhm.
for the future.
Jamar.
Jamar,
Waddle.
Kyle Pitts, Jalen
Yes,
Waddle,
Tua.
Penei Sewell, Rashawn
It's had
Slater.
1,000 yards as a rookie.
PS2, JC Horn. Both of them are
Yeah,
some of the best corners in the league
Yeah.
already.
Micah.
Fucking best edge rusher in the league, arguably.
I mean, Kyle Pitts, he's been disappointing this year, but we know what he can be.
1,000 yards as a rookie.
Yeah, the draft was loaded.
Yeah, for
It
sure.
was loaded.
Devontae Smith.
I
is
actually did a
phenomenal.
redraft.
Facts.
I don't think I have the notes for that anymore, but I did a redraft, and I felt pretty comfortable in my redraft. On to the first topic
I
of
think
the
the
show.
Charger.
Yeah, man. Good.
Dolphins-Bills, recapping that game. Going into this game, there were a lot of narratives. Can Tua throw in cold weather? Miami's offense getting figured out somewhat. The Bills needed a bounce-back game as well. Now, Drew, I want to hear your thoughts on this.
Yeah.
I want to hear your thoughts.
Oh, that's it? All right, great. I didn't know if
I
there
thought
was a
there was something
follow-up.
more,
That's
too.
fine.
We were together watching this game for the fans at home.
Absolutely.
It was Drew's birthday. Shout
It
out
was.
to Drew.
Thank you very much. I appreciate that.
The big 2-4.
Yes.
Big one. That was his
Getting
birthday
old,
on the
man.
18th.
It's crazy.
Yeah.
Thank
So
you.
we
Appreciate
we all dressed up in scrubs too. Everyone was thinking like we were all nurses. And Drew was the only one that's a nurse, but we had kind of a theme for it.
That was pretty special, man.
It was.
Before I was, I was enjoying
Blacked
myself
out.
at the party.
Okay.
Whoa. Come
Sorry.
on. I'm a man
In front
of
of, like,
class.
200 people.
Exactly.
Yeah.
Yeah, facts. Before I was enjoying myself, I saw everyone in their scrubs, and I was just like, oh, my God, I can't believe this. And as the night went on, I started to appreciate it more and more and more. I thought that was super cool that almost everyone was posted up in scrubs. That was really
awesome.
special.
I didn't know. I thought it was just gonna be our friend group because Al had told us beforehand.
That was
and
really
I thought
cool
it was gonna
of
be
her.
like our friends, and I showed up as everybody there.
Now,
And those sangria pouch. Oh my God, bro.
Mom did too much.
Nah, I don't know what she put in them, but those bodied me, bro.
Yeah, for real. I had two of
my-
them.
Oh, that was all I needed. That was all I
and
needed.
I said, oh, God, get me through the night. But it didn't take me away from watching this Dolphins-Bills game. There's a lot of accusations on Tua, whether he can play in cold weather. When the temperature's under 35, Tua hadn't won a game. Unfortunately, still that way. But at the minimum, you can walk away from this game and say Tua beat the cold allegations. He was making some very good throws, very confident in his ability, scrambling outside the pocket, trying to extend plays. Tua played as well as you could against a Bills team that was hungry, understood the moment, and a guy in Josh Allen who saw Tua and said, I can't get outdone. Josh Allen was all world. doing whatever he wanted. Everything I said about Tua, Josh Allen was just doing it better. Hitting guys open, seeing guys open, extending plays outside the pocket, just being a linebacker at quarterback, which it's honestly unfair sometimes. With the speed that he has, his ability to rush the football is second to none. He's just amazing at what he does with his skill set and his body type. And the throws that he can make really are just you can't explain them. Where Stephon Diggs kind of was taken out of the game to a degree, it just wasn't your typical Stephon Diggs type game. He still was able to see Gabe Davis. He still was able to see Dawson Knox, who had one of his better games of the season. Isaiah McKenzie was able to get a little love as well. The Dolphins, they put up 29 points and weren't able to come away with the win. The one thing you can look at is that this defense is not good. Could not stop the Buffalo Bills on third down to save their lives. When it got to third down, Josh Allen felt like it was first. He felt super comfortable. They were just making plays, extending the ball, extending the drives, pushing the ball downfield. And to put up 29 points and to lose, what can you really say? Offense all season long has been trying to do its best to keep the Dolphins in games. When you look at the Dolphins, you see their offense. The reason why they win games is because of their offense. Credit to the run game, because this was one of the first that we saw them really establish it. We saw Raheem Mostert really get comfortable. Even Salvin Ahmed.
Ahmed, yeah.
He had a very solid game as well, was able to get into the end zone. But this defense has to get better, especially on the road. At home, it lets up 16 points. They really are solid at home. On the road, it gets ugly. And you're playing a Bills team who's very good. I mean, there's no shame in giving up a loss here, but 32 points, not being able to hold on third down, it's unfortunate. But what I can be happy with is that Tua can walk away with saying he had a solid game. I would have liked some throws made here and there on the sideline, especially that last drive prior to the Bills getting the ball. I would have liked to see them put points on the board. But, it is what it is. That Bills pressure was for real. This Dolphins offensive line still needs to improve. But this was a solid game from Tua, and especially one that is needed because a lot of narratives go on. And I'd just like to see them canceled slowly but surely.
You could go. My computer's kind of messing up right now.
There's no doubt. I'd love to go, actually. So before this game happened, I had a feeling that Tua wouldn't play the best. For that reason, I shorted him on Mojo. And I actually...
I saw that. I don't understand. Wait, his price?
No, I'm talking about my percentage when I shorted him.
I saw that. I couldn't... Maybe because he lost, but he didn't play bad.
His percentage went down, I'm
assuming?
Yes.
Yeah,
he's 30. I think he's like
39, 20 right now.
One of the main statistics that Mojo uses for the prices of these players is EPA. And this is Tua's third straight game where he's had a negative EPA per play. And I think EPA is the best way to measure quarterback play. And a bunch of people
a
bunch of people in the business use it. Whenever you
what happened to DVOA,
DVOA is also a good measurement.
I'm just wondering.
Yeah, it's also a good measurement. I'm not going to downplay those stats. This game answered some questions about Tua. I'll just say one, that he can throw in the cold. I wasn't expecting him to just throw ducks all night long. He played okay. He played okay.
Come on.
I saw Mike White come into Buffalo and play better with snow, rain, and wind. Am I wrong, Joel? Am I wrong?
Similar games.
Snow, rain, and wind. This game did not answer any questions of what I had coming out of last week, the Chargers game. Because Tua, when he gets off his first read, when McDaniel designs a play, it's Tua, here's what's going to be open. Tua is a very good point-and-shoot quarterback. Great point-and-shoot quarterback. When he sees it and he trusts the design of the offense, he just throws it. But when it breaks down, he kind of gets a little bit timid, and he forces passes. And I saw some of that in the Buffalo game. He only completed 56% of his passes. He had 2 touchdowns. The first touchdown was Waddle wide open on a crosser. Good ball placement.
Sure.
A nice throw, but
Waddle
3. Is wide open, and most of that was yak. The second touchdown was to Tyreek Hill. It was a great ball. And he also should have had another touchdown to Trent Sherfield,
Correct.
But he dropped it in the end zone. But then I look at the goal ball he had to Jalen Waddle that set up the Tyreek Hill touchdown. It was underthrown. I mean, Jalen Waddle has a walk-in touchdown.
Disagree.
If Tua can just place it in front of him in stride.
There was no reason for him to jump for that ball. If Trey White also jumped for the ball, then I shake your hand right now, underthrown.
Jalen Waddle stopped to come back
he
for it.
jumped for it.
He stopped and jumped.
Unnecessary.
And I seen some people say, well, the safety was creeping up. The safety was about like 6-7 yards away. If he puts that ball in stride, it's a touchdown.
I was watching that playback over and over and over again, screaming at Waddle, why are you jumping for that? You don't have to. If Trey would have jumped too, I am 100% with you, underthrown. It was no need for Waddle to jump for it. Just stay there. Trust your hands. Trust your speed. Trust the ball.
Even if he didn't jump, he'd have to catch it like this.
I disagree. He caught it like this.
That's also when he slowed up and jumped, which stopped his momentum.
He shouldn't have jumped. At the minimum, he should not have jumped. Trust the ball, trust himself.
I do think it was underthrown.
The other concern I had was throwing outside the numbers. Tua's very great at throwing in the middle of the field.
He is.
And when he's throwing outside the numbers, the throws still look like they don't have enough zip on them, and they come in late. There was one to Tyreek Hill where Tyreek Hill had to kind of adjust, and it was just a poorly placed ball.
I think he's just late to those. I'm sorry to interrupt you. Go ahead.
He is late, but there's also not enough zip. There's not enough pressure on the ball. It's not going fast enough, and defenders are able to recover. This is the third straight game, like I mentioned, where he's had a negative EPA per play. It's been the Niners, the Chargers, and the Bills game now. I think coming into this game, what was concerning was that the Chargers and the Niners played the Dolphins differently defensively. The Niners, I didn't think stopped their offense. I thought Tua just missed throws. The Chargers did neutralize them.
For sure.
Mike McDaniel, to me, is what showed me a lot in this game because he showed that he can adjust his offense. They were more under center this game. They weren't shotgun heavy. They ran the ball very well.
Definitely.
I actually think they ran the ball too little in the second half.
Don't disagree.
Mostert had 12 carries in the first half. In the second half, he had 5.
Mm-hmm.
And he was going crazy.
He was.
There was one toss play or zone outside zone run that Mostert had that he took for what, 40-plus yards?
More yards than
back.
what was expected. Yeah.
Yeah, I thought that they should have ran the ball more. But this is a Tua stat that is actually interesting. He has a 18.6 QBR against cover 4 quarters this season, which ranks 27th in the NFL. And in Week 15, Tua was 26 in completion percentage over expectation and 17th in EPA per play. So like I said, he played well. He played average. I didn't think he was groundbreaking. Josh Allen was groundbreaking. Josh Allen was being Josh Allen.
Yeah.
And, Josh Allen was just being Josh Allen. Overall, I'm concerned with the limitations that Tua does put on this offense. He can do some great things, but there are some limitations with him. Throwing outside the numbers.
That's a timing thing. I think they can get that under control.
I think there's a lack of zip on the ball.
Oh, now suddenly there's a lack of zip on the ball.
I've said
No.
I've been pretty consistent that my big you could go back to August. You could see a tweet that my biggest gripe with Tua is him throwing outside the numbers. You could look up the tweet. I've been pretty consistent.
And also the other thing is that if McDaniel doesn't dial up the perfect play, the perfect counter to a defense every time, can Tua take a broken play and now make something great out of it? I haven't seen that from Tua.
What do you mean you haven't?
I really haven't seen that.
There's been a handful.
There's been, in these games, in these stretches of games, against high level competition, I haven't seen it. Where you see Josh Allen, I mean, the grades can do that.
Josh Allen's a better athlete.
And I'm not saying Tua's not a good quarterback because I think people misconstrue what I'm saying. I think Tua is a good quarterback. I put him in the tier like a Jared Goff, like these guys where if they're in a system, they can play great. You can win with these quarterbacks. But Tua, I just don't see him going above and beyond. And for the Bills, the first half, their offense was moving with ease. In the second, 4 drives were 3 and outs. And the 5th drive was a Josh Allen fumble. And in the 4th, Josh Allen just took over on the last 2 drives of the game. The first drive, they just ran the ball the entire drive. Josh Allen had a big-time run. And the second drive, they moved the ball with ease with Josh Allen's arm. Their run defense is not good. And I think that there's a trend with the Bills now that we see them and they're vulnerable against the run. Trey White is not himself yet.
He had a decent game.
I thought he got cooked by Jalen Waddle. I thought Jalen Waddle beat him in that matchup easily. And you say Waddle's Waddle, I agree. Trey White was a top corner in the league.
For sure.
And
he's still working his way back.
Yeah, he's coming off an injury, but it's The Bills,
You need
run
them to be
defense,
better right now.
Yeah, run defense is not there. Their offensive line is not there. And this is a jarring stat. When Stephon Diggs was on the field, the Bills gained 432 yards. In 11 plays, he was off the field. They gained 11. Outside of Stephon Diggs, there's not a great playmaker, and that limits the Bills' offense. He's good. I like Gabe Davis.
Oh, I know you do.
I never said he was great. I just said he's good.
You guys were really high on Gabe Davis.
I am high on Gabe Davis.
Yeah.
But you thought he was like
he was a wide receiver.
You thought he was a backup.
No, I said I think he's a wide receiver 3. I moved that too. I think he's a really good deep threat wide receiver 3, but he's not a wide receiver 2 in this league. Let's talk about the Dolphins. This was a fun game. Like I said, we were at Drew's, so it was a Dolphins family. It was definitely a Dolphins rooting environment. As a Jets fan, I was rooting for the Bills for playoff purposes,
Of course, understood.
But more than anything, I was hoping for a good game, and it was a really good game, especially that fourth quarter once the snow started coming down, and you really felt like this is December football. This is a playoff environment, and we even talked about it, that drive right before, this is... Drew and I were discussing, we were off a lot of sangria, but we were having a blast. The second to last drive of the game, the last drive for the Dolphins, when Tua is, they get the ball, they go down the field, they end up stopping short. Right at the beginning of that drive, I go to Drew, I'm like, this is Tua's biggest drive of his career up to this point. He hasn't been in the playoffs yet. He's had opportunities to get there in, with the late weeks, week 16, 17, 18. But this was the biggest drive because it is snowing, and you are playing the Bills, and you are on the road, and you've been having an average game, but not a great game. This could really put the cherry on top. Unfortunately, it came a little bit short. But for this Dolphins team, I thought overall you have to be pretty happy with what Mike McDaniel did. Sure, you could have ran it more in the second half. I do think he gets pass happy at times. He's almost like a coach playing Madden. I know there's a clip out there on the sideline, Miami, saying, should we just throw the ball every single play this drive? And they did, and they ended up scoring a touchdown. But I do think a game like this where Raheem Mostert was averaging 8 a carry, Ahmed was averaging 7 a carry, you were doing anything you wanted on the ground, it would have been better to see the run game be more involved, especially in that second half. The offensive line, weirdly enough, was only credited with 4 pressures, or allowed 4 pressures according to PFF. When I was watching the game, it felt like more. It felt like Tua was under pressure more, but that could also have been Tua not getting the ball out as quickly. Once you're on that 3-second mark in the pocket, that's on the offensive line. That's on the quarterback to get the ball off. But moving on to Tua, I thought he had some really great moments. We talked about the touchdown to Waddle over the middle of the field, that's in front of the safeties, behind the linebackers, touchdown to Tyreek Hill over the corner and in between him and the safety. It's throws that we've seen Tua make all season this year. Right? This is basically what he's done all year that has put him into that top 10 category in terms of statistically this year. But it was far from his best game, right? He completed only 50% of his passes. The easy stuff wasn't as easy this week, right? Like you mentioned, Joel. When the first read isn't there, you do see him struggle a bit. You do see majority of these big plays for Miami all season have been off that first read, have been off guys being wide open very quickly. Now, I don't think Tua can't read progressions and can't read defenses, but I do think that's probably his biggest area this offseason that he has to improve on. If he's able to get to that second and third read, then it really opens up this offense, because to me, that's been his biggest struggle this entire season. And just to talk kind of more in totality about Tua, because we have a pretty good sample size now at this point. Just this season with, I want to say improved offensive line, but it really grades out as one of the worst ones. But at least with Mike McDaniel, one of the best coaches in the league, we all agree, at least offensively. You have 2 really good weapons. When Tua has played not great competition, non-playoff teams, he's been spectacular. He has been. I know the Steelers, the Texans, you could look like, oh, well, they're a good scoring defense, they're good passing defense. But overall, if you just want to do playoff teams versus non-playoff teams, it's a pretty staggering difference right now for Tua. When he is playing those bottom-of-the-barrel teams, he's going to carve them up, as he should. That's what you want your franchise quarterback to do. You should be able to go up and put 30, 40 points on the Bears defense and even the Texans defense, who has had a better, has had a better secondary. But over the past 3 weeks to playoff teams, he's completing less than 50% of his passes. He's averaging 225 yards per game, an 83 passer rating, and a 5-3 touchdown turnover ratio. Solid numbers. I mean, the completion percentage you definitely want to see better, but you also get some really big plays.
Chargers game skews.
It does. But
it's fair.
This game was around like 56% completion percentage.
Like 17 for 30.
Yeah. So I think overall there are some ups and downs with Tua, and I think that's fair. I mean, to start off the season, he was so hot, and we have Drew coming on here with this black book saying, I told you so. And then over these last 3 weeks, we have Joel saying, I told you, he's just a system guy. He's not this franchise guy we're all talking about. But he has these next few weeks to really prove it. I do think the Dolphins will get into the playoffs, likely as a wild card team. And I do think they are, out of all the teams, probably at the biggest disadvantage having to go on the road. Now, if they're able to run this ball consistent like they did against Buffalo,
sure.
I'm a lot higher on them. They've had moments they've been able to run the ball. They've had moments where they haven't been. So I do think they are, in terms of the wild card teams, probably at the biggest disadvantage. Like if the Ravens have to go on the road, Lamar's healthy, I feel better about them, especially where their defense has been playing lately. But a team that is going to rely so heavily on the passing game, so heavily on explosive plays, a defense that's been largely terrible all year, a run game that's been hit or miss, an offensive line that's graded out as one of the worst in the league. I do worry about them going on the road in a cold environment, possibly bad weather, against a team that's likely going to be better than them. Dolphins have a good team, but they have holes all over the defense, on the offensive line. So I think overall, just to kind of summarize, Tua had some good moments. He had some bad moments. But overall, if you're a Tua fan like Drew, if you're you right now, you were just hoping this wasn't a disaster. You weren't hoping he goes after throws 3 interceptions like he did, I think, his rookie year, right, sure, where he's completely just looks like he doesn't belong on the field. He took a step up. That's what you want to see. I think it was definitely progress from this game, left some plays out to be desired, but overall, you can't be too upset.
I don't disagree with much of what you said. I would have liked to see him come out with the W for sure. Getting a W in those weather conditions for the way that he played, I would have loved to see the W because I feel like then conversations could have been shifted. Again, I said it last week, I'll say it this week. Winning changes a lot of narratives and how people perceive how your game ultimately was. He didn't win. Josh Allen played better than him. Simple as that. Also, that didn't help. But like you said perfectly, as a Tua supporter, as a Tua fan, this is something that we needed to see, that we wanted to see. Him in this weather environment, him canceling these narratives that he can't do it, especially against a team like the Bills. Because he's going to have, if he wants to have longevity in this career, it's going to be a lot of games like the one that he just had this past weekend where he's going to go into Buffalo. He's going to have to play in a tough environment. And also, we didn't mention about the snowballs being thrown onto the field. I thought that was more funny and entertaining than anything. But, of course, there is a hazard to a degree because it's cold. It's slushy ice. The snow itself hardens, and it could hurt and obstruct players' view, both Bills and Dolphins, honestly. So whichever way you want to play it. But I thought that was super funny. But yes, again, as a Tua guy, I'm okay with this outcome.
Will they play this week in New England?
No, Green Bay.
Home, right? You guys should beat them.
Yeah. It should be a win. Mike McDaniel said something interesting in his press conference about how sometimes when you win, you don't get better, and sometimes when you lose, you get better. That was a summary of what he said, and I think he's right.
Well said.
The Dolphins were not getting better beating up on the Texans, Lions, and Bears. The Lions before they fired their secondaries coach, because now they're a different team. They're 6-1 in the last 7 games.
Lions are legit.
And they just beat the Jets. I'm not going to lie. Even though I wanted Jets to win, I do want the Lions to make the playoffs. I'm rooting for them.
They have a decent
They're a
chance.
very easy team to root for.
Yeah.
I really want them to make the playoffs. But I think that these games, they've gotten better from it. Learning from the Chargers game, the Niners game, now the Bills game. But I want people to really understand the difference in how the Bills and the Dolphins play, right? The Bills have a superstar quarterback in Josh Allen that we are going to ride with this guy. He's going to make every play. We are going to put him in some horrible positions in third and long situations, and he's still going to convert because he's Josh Allen versus McDaniel's game plan, although they've been pass happy and shotgun heavy this entire season, said we have to change around our game plan because we're not, at least this how I'm interpreting it, we're not sure if Tua can just drop back 30, 40 times and air it out in shotgun and beat the Bills. That's the limitation that I want people to really notice in how one guy is playing within a system while the other guy is the system. Josh Allen is the guy in Buffalo that everything revolves around, and there are quarterbacks like that in the NFL where that's Justin Herbert, that's Josh Allen, that's Lamar Jackson, that the system revolves solely around them. So while the numbers may not be there as these other quarterbacks that are having great seasons, it's not because they aren't as good. It's because the system is limiting them from doing that.
I hear.
Because they're carrying the entire load of it.
That's been the biggest, I guess, knock on the Chargers this season has been we know how great Justin Herbert is, and it feels like it's the system. And it's been some injuries, too, on the offensive line and the weapons room. But you see it with Justin Herbert. Like, we know we're not comparing this to putting him in Miami's offense, but we know he would put up record-breaking numbers, right? I mean, a lot of quarterbacks would with Tyreek Hill and Jalen Waddle speed kills. I mean, Tua was putting up record-breaking numbers at one point, too, as well. So I definitely hear what you're saying. I think, what do you think the ceiling is for the Dolphins? 1 playoff win, no playoff wins, 2 playoff wins.
I think
Super Bowl.
depends.
What do we think?
Well, 1 or 2. We're talking 2 playoff wins. You're talking about AFC Championship.
Yep.
Right now, where I'm at in the AFC, I think the team I'm picking right now is the Bengals to make it out of the AFC. Second would be the Chiefs. Third would be the Bills. And fourth,
that's where you go Dolphins.
Probably the Dolphins.
That's where you go Dolphins.
Yeah, I'll probably go to
Dolphins. You would take the Dolphins
fourth.
over the Chargers?
At how the Chargers are playing, they're getting healthy.
Not insane.
I'd actually take the Chargers over the Dolphins.
Right now, the Dolphins are the 7th seed. They would be playing the Chiefs in the first round. Not ideal.
Would love to see that matchup.
It'd be a blast. Probably not ideal.
Because I keep saying it. The Chiefs' offense is electric, absolutely. That defense can get torched.
Yeah. Because whoever has the 7th seed is going to be playing either the Bengals, Chiefs, or Bills. So you have to do everything in your power to fight to get out of that.
People are going to say that I'm a hater. Yes, you probably would favor the Chiefs in that game versus the Dolphins. It could be a 30-point game from both sides.
And we just saw them do 32-29 in Buffalo, so why not?
And it's like that the Bills defense is better than the Chiefs.
Yeah, the Chiefs.
I have no doubts that Miami can go into Kansas City and put up points.
It could be the Ravens who fall off at 9-5 right now. They're playing the Browns next week,
Chargers,
probably without Lamar.
Chargers are getting hot at the right time, and this is without Joey Bosa also playing, which
week.
is crazy. And now Keenan Allen's back, and you see his impact. Mike Will has come back, and he's looked really good. Josh Palmer, I think he didn't end up finishing that game. I think he walked off to the sideline. But Josh Palmer has done a great job in filling that role while these guys have been hurt as well. Obviously, Austin Eckler. And Justin Herbert is just playing at a different level recently. And in this Titans game, he struggled to a degree and still was able to overcome.
Yep, for sure.
That's what the greats do.
Saturday was the Bills-Dolphins primetime game. Sunday was the Giants and Commanders on primetime. And I want to watch this in the win. I'm not going to lie. I wanted them to win.
I bet you did.
I like the Taylor Heineke story. The Giants, I'm still not much of a believer in them, but I will say, after seeing their pass rush be healthy for the first time together this year, and Azeez, Leonard Williams, Dexter Lawrence, and Kayvon Thibodeau, this is a scary pass rush. I don't think any team wants to match up with this pass rush in the playoffs.
I can't say he locked in defensive rookie of the year, especially with the way that Sauce.
Yeah, Sauce has that pretty much locked.
He does.
I'll be honest, Sauce is probably the best corner in football.
I still would take PS2 personally. I feel like PS2 plays a little bit more man-to-man.
He does, for sure. Yeah, Sauce is mostly zone, but that's just
is Sauce better than JC?
Yes.
JC.
Warren?
Oh, yeah.
Because JC plays a lot of man also.
He does. Well, yes. I mean, it's a zone defense play.
I think Sauce, even in man, shuts down. He's been in
No.
man.
Oh, listen. I'm not trying to minimize what Sauce has been doing. Sauce has been undoubtedly a top 5 corner in the league. If you want to say he's number 1, hey, I mean, you have your arguments. Yeah. But PS2 is playing man-to-man almost what seems every play.
Yeah. Now, the Jets run mostly zone.
He's led up less than 35 yards, I think, 11 times this year. PS2 is a different breed.
He's a dog.
The Giants beat the Commanders 20-12. They're now 8-5-1, while Washington dropped to 7-6-1. And this was a big-time game because this basically decided a wild card spot. I think whoever won this game was going to get in the playoffs, and whoever lost is not. I have a tough time seeing Washington now getting into the playoffs given the schedule they have going forward. But the biggest storyline of the game is that it ended in controversy.
Not one, but 2 plays.
Penalty on Terry McLaurin because he wasn't lined up the right way and wiped off a Brian Robinson touchdown, who was my running back during the draft process.
Last 2 weeks, he's been a stud. He's been a stud.
And the non-call on Curtis Samuel on 4th down, the DPI non-call. I guess I just want to ask you guys if you thought that these calls were the right calls. If you think Washington should have gotten that touchdown, or they should have gotten that call on 4th down. What are your guys' thoughts on that?
Listen, I've been a Giants supporter all season, and it's gotten to the point where I was concerned about this roster because of the injuries. I didn't know if it was surmountable. The the momentum that Washington has had on their side. It seemed written in the stars that Washington would win this game and put themselves to lock themselves up into playoff contention. Now, to talk about the ending of that game, watching that Terry film back is really, really, it's tough to sit with. He checks not once. He checks twice to see if he's good, and not without even any hesitation, once the play starts, the ref throws the flag. That really just didn't sit right with me. And again, I wanted the Giants to win, right? I'm not upset that they won, but there's no doubt in my mind that those are two plays that I'm looking at, and the refs messed up. That was obvious pass interference. He is hugging him well before the ball is anywhere near Curtis Samuel. I mean, the refs had to do better, man. The refs really were not good all weekend long, and this is just an exclamation point to that statement.
Yeah.
There's not much else to say.
It's hard when you have 100 plays plus of football in one game.
That's for sure.
And you point it down to one or two plays. Like, that's even when, like, you drop a touchdown with no time remaining or miss a game-winning shot in basketball. Like, it's very easy to blame that one player, that one play, that one moment and say, well, if this happened, we would have won. But it really did felt like if this moment happened, they would have won, right? I mean, this is when you have people who go on the internet and say, you have to automate everything. No referees, no human interaction, all computer.
Lose me.
But that's also when I sit there and I'm like, when you have the playoffs on the line, when you have jobs on the line, right? When you have people, you're really like you have bonuses involved, incentives involved for some coaches, their jobs involved on the line, and it comes down to a missed play by a referee. That's what, when I sit there and I'm like, you know what? Maybe it's not the worst thing in the world to have more reviews, have more automation. I mean, the Terry flag, that you can't even do with a computer or whatever, right? Because he is asking the referee, saying, am I good? The referee says yes. How do you throw a flag? I've never seen that in my life of watching football. I would be irate. I would be pissed off. And then, I don't know if it's the next play or two plays later or whatever. That is that one play where you look at, this was last year, you could review that, and that would have been a clear DPI. They would have got the ball first and goal on the 1 yard line with 4 chances to score a touchdown. Who knows what ends up happening, but odds are they probably get in the end zone there, right? We saw them do it just a couple plays before with Brian Robinson. So it is hard when you have all of those plays, 100-plus plays in a football game, to really pin it on one moment. But I do see where Washington fans come from. If I was a Washington fan, I would be so pissed off right now.
Are you kidding me?
Oh my! Like, I'm thinking about all these Jets games where I think a couple calls don't go our way. Now we have on prime time the last play, the game-winning play, doesn't go our way. I mean, Washington fans have every right to be pissed off because this was a game. I mean, them and the Giants. To be fair, last year the Giants got away, or excuse me, they got away with one. You know, with the whole offsides on the game-winning field goal or whatever, which gave them the win. So, in a way, I guess it goes both ways. But this felt like a very big swing because we saw before the game. It was, if you win this game, you have a 95% chance to go to the playoffs. If you lose, it's like a 33% chance, right? It is basically win or go home at this point. You're going to need a lot more else to happen. Whoever is the loser of this game obviously ended up being Washington. I do think for the Giants, obviously take the win, right? You're probably going to the playoffs, which is huge. Likely a first-round exit. I mean, wherever they go, if they play San Fran, Minnesota, whoever. I mean, I think they're at least a touchdown underdog. I think San Fran maybe even 9-10 points if they go on the road. I think it'd be one of the bigger underdog stories in terms of playoff matchups over the last few seasons. But overall, you have to be happy as a Giants fan. I think you have, because even though, I mean, it's easy to sit here and say, if I was a Giants fan, like, I would have liked another top 10 pick, right? I would have liked to be able to get another superstar player, whether it's on, defense, offense, whatever.
Defense. Or offense. I mean,
receiver. Wide receiver.
They went rounds 1 through 7 receiver. I'm not mad.
So it's easy for me as like just trying to be a big brain, like, oh, get another draft pick and really try to, build this team up. But I think making the playoffs, it just shows you have the right head coach. It shows you could win these type of games. They've been doing it really all season. I know they went on, a little 3-4 game losing streak, had a tie in there or whatever. But overall, you have to be happy with what Daboll's done. It does, become a little more complicated at the quarterback position because it is the chicken or the egg. Is Daniel Jones not putting up big numbers because there's no receivers, or is Daniel Jones not putting up big numbers because he's just not a great quarterback?
I mean, tell me.
It's a situation that's hard. I wish I didn't have to pay him. I wish I should have
just given him the 5th year.
I wish I didn't have to make the decision today.
They folded.
Yeah, they probably did. That 5th year option would have been in that $20-25 million range, which is going to be
probably
what
less
he ends
than
up
what
doing.
he's going to get.
Yeah, maybe we'll see what that contract ends up being. But overall, the officiating cost Washington the game. It cost them a chance at the playoffs. It's unfortunate, but sports, I guess, right?
Really want to highlight one thing. Did you guys see Saquon take that dude's soul? Dude said, "Dude." Bro went to tackle him, just completely touched earth, and Saquon got the first down. Saquon, he was so damn good.
I think Daniel Jones is a good quarterback, and he deserves a deal in New York.
I agree.
I don't think anything lucrative. I think
Agreed.
A reasonable amount.
Mm-hmm.
But you put receivers around Daniel Jones, you have a good defense, you can win with Daniel Jones. I think you can win with him. And he's shown it this year, you can win with him. The Terry McLaurin penalty, I didn't have that big of an issue with. The call, because he wasn't lined up to the line of scrimmage. And his story didn't line up to me because he did ask the ref if he was good, and then the ref made a hand signal. He didn't do like a thumbs up, or he just went like this. So I'm interpreting that as maybe move up a little bit more, and McLaurin moved up like a centimeter, an inch more.
Mm-hmm.
And they called the flag because the line of scrimmage was at the half-yard line, and he was back at the 1.5-yard line. So, I understand, like, it's a little discrepancy, but, it is the rules. Terry McLaurin, once he scooted up more, he didn't look back at the referee to see if it was good. The ball was just snapped. And then the ref,
but he
threw
checked
the flag.
twice.
He checked once. He looked over once, went like
but
this.
You see him go like this,
and
look down.
Then you
see him go like this again.
And then he moved up, and then he was like this. The reason I had issue with the call is because no matter if McLaurin lined up where he lined up or he lined up in the line of scrimmage, it did not affect the play. I mean, it had no implication on the play whatsoever. It was a run up the middle. McLaurin was out of the play. He wasn't even blocking anybody. That was my issue with it. I do agree the fourth down play was a DPI, but ultimately the Commanders lost this game because their offense was inconsistent. Scott Turner didn't do a good job at putting his best playmaker on the field that night in Brian Robinson in more positions to be successful. He was. Brian Robinson was running the heck out of the football all night long.
Terry.
I mean, I guess so, but I'm talking about just from that individual game. Jahan Dotson made some big-time plays, too.
Jahan is another one, bro. He is like that.
But Brian Robinson got 4 carries in the second half. He had 8 in the first half, 12 total.
I was going to say 12 for 80, 81, something like that.
Yeah, he was averaging 7.4 yards per carry. I mean, he was damn near getting a first down every time he carried the ball, and you didn't keep giving him the ball. That I had issue with. And then it's just costly turnovers. The Heineke fumble when they were in the red zone really cost them because that made it you could have made it a 2-point game at that point, and you only need a field goal. You only need a defensive stop. But there were some splash plays in there, the throw to Dotson. But overall, their offense was inconsistent. And I think that's also in large part to the Giants' pass rush. The first time getting these 4 guys playing together. But it's just Kayvon Thibodeau. It was the Kayvon Thibodeau show.
Those splashy Dexter in there for sure.
You get a strip sack. You take it in for a touchdown. Getting a defensive touchdown in any game is huge. But this one, it was huge because these are 2 offenses that are going to struggle to move the ball consistently. And then just the tackles for loss he had 3 tackles for loss. He had 12 tackles total. He had 1 touchdown-saving tackle when Heineke was running towards the pylon, and Kayvon stopped him.
He was in coverage, right? Like, it made no sense that he was even in that play.
Another great play where he got faked out. It might have been like an RPO or something, and he bit hard and still ran all the way back and caught up with whoever was rushing the ball and tackled him.
I thought that it's easy for me to say this because I'm not looking at Kayvon right in the face and he's about to tackle me. But I thought, if Taylor Heineke probably fights for a yard or 2, he could probably get into the end zone. I wouldn't want to
fight for a yard.
But I understand why he just fell down. But playoff time, do or die, I don't know. I feel like a quarterback makes that play right there to just try to get into the end zone.
It's not the 90s anymore.
But I do understand it. And just having those 4 guys made the Giants shift their defensive game plan. Wink Martindale, he only blitzed on 35% of his dropbacks, which is
surprising.
The second lowest mark of the season for them. And they just, they did that because their front 4 can get pressure. They don't need extra bodies to generate pressure. And now you help out your secondary because you don't have a Dory Jackson. You don't have Xavier McKinney. So now you're able to drop more guys into coverages. It makes these passing windows very thin. And then the Giants offensively do what they usually do. You know, they're inconsistent for the majority of the game, but they get a couple drives going with Saquon, Daniel Jones making some nice plays. I thought that Isaiah Hodgins and Richie James made some nice plays.
Plays. Sure. Yeah, without a doubt.
They made some big-time catches.
I can't wait till I don't see Darius Slayton be a wide receiver 1, but...
Hour.
Huh?
Hour?
No, I didn't say that. Just a wide receiver 1.
No.
My bad. And shout out to the G-men, though.
I know. That's why I had to stop you.
Love my guys. That being said, Richie James looked good. He looked good. He looked shifty, very. I was shocked.
He had missed the last couple of weeks.
Yeah, he was about to get cut. I mean, the fan base wanted him cut after he dropped a punt. He muffed the
that
punt.
wasn't great. That wasn't great.
But he's bounced back in a huge way. But overall, this was a great win for the Giants, and this basically clinched them a playoff spot. There's 3 scenarios for them to get into the playoffs this upcoming week to clinch it. If they win and Detroit loses at Carolina, plus Seattle lost at KC. So they need a win and Detroit and Seattle loss.
I want them to clinch this week.
Or Giants win, Detroit loss at Carolina, and Washington loss at San Francisco. Or Giants win, Seattle loss at KC, and Washington loss at San Fran.
This sounds like
which
the most
I
lucrative.
think is
This is the most
likely.
lucrative.
Yes.
And the Giants are facing the Vikings this week, which it's a winnable game.
Who's home? Do you know?
I think it's Minnesota.
Yeah.
I can double check though.
Yeah, that's gonna be a big time game for the Giants because a win is not gonna be easy against Minnesota.
The Vikings are at home.
Okay.
It's not easy, but it is very winnable and doable.
We saw what should have been easy last year with the Indianapolis Colts. So
This is very true.
you never know.
You never know.
You never know.
Without a doubt. Minnesota would be a big win. That'd be a statement win because they could play them in the first round of the playoffs.
That's a fact.
It's a tough team. We're gonna talk about Minnesota later. Though I have some interesting comments about them.
You're still not sold. I could tell. I could feel your hater energy.
I'm not. I don't know many great teams that are down 33-0 to the Colts.
You don't know many great. Well, I know there's very few great teams that can. Well, there's very few teams that can come back from that deficit.
They were the only team who's ever done that.
Yeah.
Shout out to them.
Because they got that man at quarterback, the captain.
Oh, got Kirk.
Captain Kirk.
He's mid.
He's as good as Dak Prescott.
No.
Yeah, he is.
Dak Prescott's just cooler.
He's better.
They're in the same tier.
They're kind of
for sure.
Yeah,
sure, I'm with you.
They're kind of like the same guy.
But who
I feel like in a big moment,
I would rather Dak.
In a big moment, I'd rather have Dak.
I'd rather have Kirk. Mr.
On what
Kirk.
basis?
I like him. Kirk Cousins.
Gotta respect that.
It's got to be something.
There's stats behind his clutchness. That Dak doesn't have those clutch stats that Kirk has this year.
This doesn't count as a primetime game, 1 o'clock on a Saturday, does it?
I'll give it to him.
You will?
I'll give it to him.
Wow, nice guy.
It's a standalone game, not a primetime game.
I'm a Minnesota hater, allegedly.
Yeah.
God forbid I try to tell what I see. I'm a hater, allegedly.
Shout
So
out
I
KJ
gotta give him
Osborne.
the credit where credit is due.
Bro put up like 150.
Bro, what was he on?
I don't know. Bro is outpaced Justin Jefferson.
That's what happens when you line up the opposite side of Jettas.
Yeah.
Lions and Jets.
Here we go.
This game had a lot of implications.
All right, let's have this topic less than 45 minutes.
Detroit's playoff hopes.
I'm gonna say minimal.
Zach Wilson's
Or should I go
comeback
first?
from his benching. I want to go first on this.
Yeah, I figured.
Okay.
Because I was at this game sitting front row. There's some
in his red jacket. Bro couldn't have just put a black one on. No, he went out and showed out with the red jacket and a sea of green. I respected that.
people asked me if it was a Montclair coat.
Was it?
Should have said yeah.
No, it was not.
I would have lied.
But people were weird, man. I was going through. I was just walking in the stadium. People were like, "Yo, that jacket, man, fire." When I was getting out of my seats, people were trying to touch my material, bruh.
Kept you warm?
Weird,
It was
just a bunch of
cold.
weird people.
It kept you warm?
I did keep it warm. And the lady next to me was nice enough to tell me when she came back from getting some food that, hey, my aunt just sent me this picture of us on TV.
Oh,
and she was like,
tough.
she saw you
Yeah.
on TV.
Nice.
And I was like, that's dope. That's dope. You know, not in 4K like when I was at the Nets game. Nets game, they had the graphic.
Yeah.
The graphic under. I was one of the fans that they turned to. They had the graphic under.
They thought you were an OG Nets fan.
Yeah,
they really did.
They had the graphic under. I was caught bad in Brooklyn. First of all, I want to say this. I'm happy for Detroit Lions. This is their third straight road win. They won 20-17. This was a hard-fought win. They're now 6-1 in the last 7. Since starting 1-6, they're 6-1. It's been an amazing turnaround, and I hope that they make the playoffs. there were 3 game-changing plays. Well, 2 game-changing plays in my opinion. Khalif Raymond, punt return touchdown.
That was huge.
And 50-plus yard touchdown to Brock Wright on 4th and 1 when they were down 17-13. I thought it was an amazing play by Ben Johnson, the OC. He put a Moran in motion, which shifted C.J. Mosley's attention and eyes to him, and nobody's accounting for Brock Wright. Ben Johnson knows that. So the offensive line holds up. Brock Wright goes his own little mesh route. He's wide open. Like, nobody's in his vicinity.
For yards.
And he just takes it. It was a great play. That was CJ's man, and it was just a busted coverage. He should be better than that. I think he will be better than that. So shout out to the Lions.
No Quinnen either. That's another thing. Yeah. Big part.
But Zach Wilson, he put a smile on my face with this performance, man. I'll tell you something. This topic is about grading Zach's performance. I thought I'm gonna give him a C. He played well. He didn't play exceptional. He didn't play great, Dehls. But the scrutiny this kid has to fight through week to week. Not only has the entire football world given up on him, all football fans, all they do is shit on this guy, man. The one place where you think you'd have support is your own fan base. And the Jets fans have completely turned against Zach to the point that, Zach Wilson, yeah, he may have had 2 touchdowns, but he missed all these throws. Well, Mike White versus the Vikings and the Bills had 0 passing touchdowns. When you look at EPA, CPOE, these quarterback stats that gauge better how the quarterback played, Zach's game was better than Mike White's versus Minnesota. All I heard was that Mike White was the next coming to Tom Brady. He's the next late round pick, that he's the Jets franchise guy. He should be quarterback 1. I see Jets fans, when I tweeted this, because, listen, I'm not saying Zach's going to be a superstar. I'm not saying that. I do believe in his talent, and if it were up to me, I do want a proven star at quarterback. I want a franchise guy. I don't want a Jimmy Garoppolo. I don't want a Jacoby Brissett. No, I want a Lamar Jackson. I take Derek Carr. I take those type of guys on my team right now, on the Jets right now. There's no doubt. I tweeted, Zach Wilson nor Mike White, if the Jets want to go all in and win, should be the starting quarterback. We both know that, they shouldn't be the starting quarterback. Jets fans, why not Mike White? He's only had 6 starts. This guy's a journeyman, man. Shout out to Mike White for doing what he's done. I respect it. There's a reason why he's been cut from the Cowboys and he's landed on the Jets and he's found his home. He's good. I think he's a good backup. He's serviceable. He's a spot starter. He can do some things. But if Mike White puts up stats and loses, he gets praises. He gets praised. Zach Wilson does it. This is why we got to start Mike White. If Zach Wilson threw like 3 interceptions in this game, I understand. If he played horrible, I understand.
He had very good opportunity to throw 3 interceptions.
But he didn't. That's the thing. But he didn't. He didn't, else. That's all that matters. He didn't.
He did one really bad one. Almost a second.
And there was another one over the middle that easily could have been intercepted.
I look at Zach Wilson's performance. 3rd and 19. Big time throw to Garrett Wilson when you're down.
Huge throw.
He threw another first down throw to Garrett Wilson on the left side of the field. Robert Saleh did not call a timeout. This loss was on Robert Saleh's bad clock management and the 4th and 1 play.
I understand not calling a timeout because then it's potentially reviewed and not a first down.
The play when Zach got sacked, that's when they should have called a timeout.
Correct.
And then the 4th and 18 play to Elijah Moore.
Beautiful.
Unbelievable.
That's a play that for all the Mike Light, this and that, he is not getting out that freaking pocket and making that throw. No. He's getting sacked there. Zach Wilson keeps things alive and in play. He's a home run hitter.
Is he making the throw?
The one before, yeah. Over
sure.
Yeah.
Zach's a home run hitter. And the reason why I've said I'd rather stick with Zach is because I know that the lows can be lows. But damn it, the highs can be highs. My adrenaline when I watch Zach Wilson and the Jets play is more than Mike White. Mike White, I get a steady heartbeat.
Bit biased.
With Zach Wilson, my heartbeat is I like the thrill, Dehls. I like the thrill with Zach. I love the thrill. I want to sum it up like this. Mike White can read the field better than Zach. He can throw short and intermediate passes better than Zach. But that's all things that Zach can get better at and he can fix. Mike White will never develop the talent Zach has. Zach has the talent, and if he can just put things together, I see a future for this guy, man. I do. And I just don't I just hate that the fan base has given up on this kid because I do think that the writing is on the wall after he got benched. And it sucks, man. And I really hope he bounces back, either with the Jets or with another team. And this Thursday's a big-time game for him versus Trevor Lawrence.
Huge.
It's the biggest of his career. And it's going to
every week continuously.
He's either going to get more slandered more than he already was, or it's going to be an eye-opener for some people. I hope it's the latter. But, man, this people are going to say this loss was on Zach. That's what Jets fans are saying. If Mike White played, we would have won. The Lions defense, 22 pressures, 5 quarterback hits, 4 sacks.
This line's terrible.
Mike White is getting buried behind this line with the Lions defense.
So what happened in Buffalo?
And also, Zach Wilson has not benefited from a run game.
Not at all.
The Lions, last couple of games that he started. You look at here, like right now, the Lions defense, weeks 8 through 15, 10th in EPA per play, 7th in rush EPA. So they've been great at stopping the run.
The rush defense has been amazing.
16th in drawback EPA. So they're not a great pass defense, but they're good.
They've been better.
And the last 7 games, they've allowed 19.9 points per game. The Jets defense come into this game, averaged 3 sacks a game. They had 0. Quinnen's impact was missed. And also the Lions had some missed opportunities in this game, for sure.
I'm with you.
Jared Goff underthrew a deep pass to Jamison Williams.
That was close.
It should have been a touchdown.
I think it was great coverage by DJ.
It was behind him for sure.
It was great. It was really great
DJ
coverage.
got smoked on that play. It should have been a touchdown.
It was a push-off.
It was.
You see him extend his arm, but I'm with you. It should have been a touchdown.
And then Jamal Williams had a touchdown run that was called back.
Yeah.
But they had a touchdown anyway on that drive, so it didn't really matter.
Yep.
We allowed 107 yards on the ground. And, now Detroit, they're going to make the playoffs. I think they're making the playoffs.
You're 100% right.
The Jets, we have to go 3-0 here. This is going to be a very important stretch. Very, very important stretch. Sure. And also, I'm going to finish on this, Dehls, and then I want to hear your thoughts on this Jets performance. Zach's EPA ranked this week, week 15, 14th of 30 quarterbacks. So he played average, right? He was middle of the pack of quarterbacks this week, 19th in passer rating. And listen, man, he just makes explosive plays that I don't think Mike White makes. You look at the deep pass to Garrett Wilson when he rolled right, the pro day throw to CJ Uzomah. Before the half, the array of deep passes to Jeff Wilson. He should have had a touchdown to Jeff Wilson before the half. It was DPI. The refs did not call it. The officiating week 15 all around was horrible. The officiating for Jets games in general has been horrible for us. But you're right, man. Third quarter was ugly. Third quarter, Zach was very ugly. I was in the stadium. The Bulls was raining down. It was very, very ugly. But the first half I thought was great.
I agree.
The first half was great. The third quarter pushed his performance from an A to like a D. And then the fourth quarter heroics of him.
I'm not going to say
push him to a C. But listen, he gave us the lead with 4 minutes left. Our defense, even if they allow points, not on 4th and 1.
Fourth and inches,
not on that play. Not on that play. Heartbreaking loss, man.
You done?
I'm done.
You done? Okay. First, credit to Detroit. Because we're going to be talking all about the Jets, so want to give them their flowers.
To start off, can't beat Detroit.
To start off,
you can't beat the Seahawks.
Yeah, it was
can't beat the Jaguars.
Correct. We've lost one of those games so far. Credit to Detroit. They started off 1-6. They're 7-7 right now. If the Lions go 3-0 down the stretch, they just need the Commanders or Seahawks to lose one more game. The Commanders are in San Francisco, then the Browns and the Cowboys. Those are 3 really tough games. The Seahawks play at Kansas City, home to the Jets. And then against the Rams, I think 2 of those games. The Rams, they should win, but at KC and against the Jets are going to be tough. The Lions go 2-1. They need the Commanders Seahawks lose 2 games. It seems very possible they'll get into the playoffs. And getting hot right now, playing likely the 2-seed Minnesota Vikings. The Vikings do not want to play Detroit. Not at all, not even a little bit.
Who wants to right now?
So credit to Detroit. They've been playing really well offensively. Defensively, I'm still not all the way sold. The run defense has been better. But we saw Kirk Cousins put up 400.
Run defense is legit. The pass defense.
We saw Zach Wilson put up 300, his most yards, or second most of the season, at least most where he didn't have a 3-interception game. But we'll talk about Zach Wilson. And Joel, we've had some iconic debates over these last few months over Zach Wilson. But I don't want to get into a debate today. I am not going to have my soliloquy be on purpose to get a debate or to get you irritated or pissed off. That's not what I'm intending to do today.
I'm having a chill day today.
Okay,
bro.
I'm not trying to piss anyone off the table. Not trying to, I know you were at the Jets game. You had great seats. You saw some great plays from Zach.
I ate a big time sausage.
You had the primo. The primo goes
peppers,
dumb.
Spicy.
I put you on. I put you on to the Premio in MetLife.
No, I had Wait, no, I think you did.
I was gonna say it never misses.
I think you put me onto the Premio at the Mets
facts,
game. Actually,
facts.
The Mets game. Yeah.
Mets have a fire cheesesteak at the stadium.
Bro, it's a little too much, honestly.
Too much meat for you?
It's just thick as hell.
It is. It's max.
Like, it's not medium rare. It's not medium.
Really?
It's
I feel like every time I get it, it's cooked pretty well.
Yeah, I feel like it. I'm like,
yeah.
Oh, you think
like
so?
a damn cow.
You like it raw? More raw?
No,
I do like it medium rare.
Yeah, medium
A
rare.
medium's fine too, but they give you literally filet mignon in a hoagie.
Yeah, it's max,
lit,
I'm not gonna lie.
But it's a lot.
It is.
They do. It's crazy.
I think my main takeaway from this game is I don't think the Jets starting quarterback is on the roster for 2023. I don't think Zach Wilson or Mike White are going to be or should be the 2023 opening day starter.
Mike White guy, man?
I've given Mike White praise. I still think consistency-wise he's better than Zach. He doesn't give you those home run plays, but what's a home run hitter in baseball if they strike out 300 times? How many guys are paying Joey Gallo $40 million a season? Nobody's doing it, right? So you could have those home run plays, but you can't strike out 300 times. And that's kind of what Zach Wilson is right now.
Kinda.
Zach Wilson had some incredible splash plays that make you go, wow, this is the reason this guy was picked number 2 overall. This is why people say give him another chance. Let him start the rest of the season. Let him play these bad defenses. He has the talent to be a top quarterback in the league. I mean, he was a playmaker basically this entire game. The offensive line the last 2 weeks have been some of the worst offensive line play I've seen all season. Lincoln Tomlinson, who I thought was going to be a huge upgrade at guard, has graded out to be one of the worst guards in the league. And just watch, it's a problem if I can see one specific person messing up the entire offensive line. I could see that with Lincoln Tomlinson, it feels like every single week. He has been that bad. The offensive line has been really disappointing when I thought we could be a potential top 10, top 5 offensive line before the injuries. Without a doubt. But I want to give a bit of context. The offensive line did play terrible. Zach Wilson had no run games. Donovan Knight has been spectacular over these last 3 weeks. He did nothing against Detroit. Some of that was Detroit loading the box up a lot, making Zach beat them, and he did beat them at some times. But a lot of it was really the offensive line couldn't get any push. I felt like the offensive and defensive line for the Jets were getting manhandled all day. We had no sacks on Jared Goff.
It's ugly.
Yes, and I had a tweet out there that someone made a quote saying, "Oh man, I hope the Jets could stop the Lions, Jags, and Seahawks." The Jets did. The Jets let up 13 points on defense. One of them was a 50-yard touchdown on 4th and inches to the tight end. The Jets defense did everything possible you could ask for against one of the hottest offenses, not the hottest offense in the entire NFL. I mean, they're up there with the Kansas Cities and the Bengals. Like, I'm laughing because it's Jared Goff compared to Mahomes and Burrow and Chase and all these guys. But their offense has been that spectacular, especially over this last month and a half of the season. I have some good and some bad for Zach Wilson. The good, as I mentioned before, he was a playmaker. You saw him rolling out the pocket constantly, finding Garrett Wilson down the field, finding Elijah Moore down the field. The CJ Uzomah throw down the field as well that ended up being a touchdown is probably the play of the season so far for the Jets, at least offensively. I mean, that was his pro day throw done in real life.
It was beautiful.
It was, thank God the safety was 7 yards away because it was dangerously close to getting picked off or possibly deflected. It was a little bit behind him, but overall you have to be really happy with that throw. But the bad.
He's hating right now.
The bad, overall, Zach was really inaccurate. He was really inaccurate. I'm not just talking completion percentage-wise. This is from ESPN Stats and Info. Zach Wilson's off-target percentage was 35.3%. That was worse than the New England game, the second New England game. That 35.3% marks 434th out of 442 individual passing performances this season. Zach Wilson was still very, very inaccurate on more plays than not. Now, you can live with that when he is making those splash plays, when he's able to get out of the pocket and make 30, 40, 50-yard throws down the field. Garrett Wilson contorting his body, fighting through DPI, make it. You can live with it when Zach Wilson is having those moments. But when he's not having those moments, which has been really the majority of the season, that's where you can't live with. So overall, I gave Zach a C, maybe a C+ if I want to be a little nice, maybe a C- if I want to be a little negative. But overall, I don't think the Jets' starting quarterback in 2023 is going to be on this roster. I think with the way this defense has built up this season, it's been a top 5 unit damn near all year. The offensive line has to get healthy. We have the weapons. I really think we're doing this roster a disservice if we have Zach Wilson or Mike White be the QB1. Now, if it's Zach Wilson and Mike White and somebody else, but with that being said, I think if we brought in Derek Carr, he'd very easily get the starting job. And there's been people, I was watching the pregame show to Monday Night Football. I think it was Alex Smith who might have been saying how the Jets don't have a plan for Zach Wilson or they haven't supported him. I don't really agree with that. I mean, I think the Jets and Robert Saleh have done everything possible to put him in the best situation. Look at the draft over the last 2 years. We've done nothing but draft running backs, wide receivers, offensive linemen. We've done everything to put Zach in position to succeed. Now, can you say you cut the cord a little bit early after that Patriots game when you had some bad defenses coming up? Okay, I could see eye to eye with that, but I don't agree in terms of we haven't supported him. Robert Saleh has been very supportive of him the entire season. We know how high Joe Douglas is on him. We saw them go on vacation in the offseason. I find a hard time believing the Jets didn't do everything possible to let Zach Wilson succeed. Unfortunately, he hasn't lived up to it. Now, sure, he's played some tough defenses over the stretch, but welcome to the NFL. Patrick Mahomes plays tough defenses. Burrow plays tough defenses. Everyone eventually you're going to have to play tough defenses, so I can't have that be an excuse when you complete 48% of your passes and throw 3 interceptions. And I know you said Zach Wilson didn't throw 3 interceptions, but the first one to Elijah Moore where he threw it right to the safety or DB, whoever it was, terrible. The throw to Michael Carter, which was, I don't know, he was getting sacked. He threw it across the field. Michael Carter, but he should have never threw that ball. Michael Carter made a great play on the ball, and then there was another throw over the middle of the field, I believe to Elijah Moore, where if the safety was looking at the ball instead of Elijah Moore, it would have been right to him, an easy interception.
Listen, bro, 3 turnover worthy plays. The first one at the goal line when we were at our own goal line, by the way. Which
Denzel, yes, I wasn't even counting
to throw that anyway.
I wasn't even counting that. That's 4.
No, bro.
I'm
not giving you the one to Elijah Moore over the middle. Like,
we could run that play back. It was.
I'm not giving you that.
Well, we'll see.
I'm gonna give you the interception he actually threw.
The Michael Carter one.
The Michael Carter one.
There was another one over the middle to Elijah.
In the beginning of the game.
The Denzel throw, yeah, but the one over the middle of the field was worse than the Denzel throw. He was not close.
Look,
overall,
Drew's gonna go, and then I'm gonna. Hold
on, I'm not done.
Okay, my bad.
I'm not done.
I thought you were done.
It's okay. I just want to get my last few sentences off and kind of wrap up this Zach Wilson talk. He hit home run plays. Overall, he wasn't that great. Overall, he missed too many throws. He missed too many easy throws, too many throws over the middle of the field, too many guys that were open. You can't play consistently winning football when your quarterback is this inaccurate. Now, can he get more accurate? Can he improve as a passer? Sure. I'm not putting my money into it. I'm not putting my money into a guy who's been a career 57, 58% completion percentage to shoot up to 64, 65% next season. And that still puts you, middle of the pack in terms of completion percentage. Not even saying a top 10, top 8 guy. Now, he doesn't have to be that great because we know he has the explosive ability. But overall, I don't think the Jets starting quarterback is on this roster. The roster's too good right now to not be aggressive in the trade market and go out and get someone who could really elevate this offense.
And luckily for you, man, there's a way to put your money or not put your money in quarterbacks. Mojo. You could short him if you think he's going to be bad.
I will.
Or you could long him if you think he's going to keep getting better.
I will be shorting Zach.
Now,
Maybe I'll wait till the
Drew's going to
game.
go, but I want to hit on that point that you talked about with Alex Smith and what he said, because Daniel Jeremiah also made some comments on the Rich Eisen show that are very interesting that I want to touch on too.
All right, so you're talking about that you don't believe that the Jets' future starting quarterback is on the roster. And you're saying how Jets fans gave up on Zach Wilson. I don't disagree with that statement, but I think that statement where that is at the forefront is that you guys are winning more ball games than fans expected this year. And now that you guys are winning ball games and Zach Wilson is lagging behind the rest of the team, fans are going to be antsy. They're going to want someone at the quarterback position, the most essential position in football, the most exciting position in football, to be better, especially when you guys are winning ball games. You guys are winning ball games, or were winning ball games, in spite of Zach, for majority of them. And I hate to sound rude, Joel, because you've had enough Zach Wilson hate thrown your way, but that's just the truth. This game, I'm looking at it multiple ways. You mentioned the offensive line. Was Zach inaccurate? 100%. Is Zach not great under pressure? Yes, he's not great when it comes to under pressure, but he has great escapability and he's great at extending plays. He took 4 sacks this game. This offensive line was not good.
So bad.
He's not good under pressure, but it does not bode well, especially when the offensive line is just consistently bad. I looked towards the end of the game, and yes, the third quarter was horrendous. He had some really errant throws that you're just scratching your head. But the first half, I left thinking, all right, Zach, you're showing me something. That throw to Uzama, you're being a little bit too critical.
I am.
I think he's leaning to his weak side and makes a strong throw.
I'm definitely being critical.
But understand.
The underthrow was to Jeff Smith.
Correct.
Jeff Smith did have a touchdown if Zach put him in front of him. But I think Zach is just kind of excited. He doesn't want to miss it, so he kind of underthrows it.
But that last drive, the situations that he was put in and overcame, that 3rd and long to Garrett Wilson, there were some plays where Garrett Wilson saved his bacon. Not that one. That was a dot, perfect in stride, got the first down. The next throw to Garrett Wilson on 2nd, that's Garrett Wilson being Garrett Wilson. That is a tough catch. And then on 4th down, again, the pocket collapses. The line was just atrocious all day. He scrambles outside, makes a throw, a crossbody again to Elijah. And I don't want to be critical of Elijah, especially because you're trying to make something happen. You score a touchdown, the game's over. Got to know the situation a little bit better. Grab the ball, go down, know where you are, get down, call a timeout. You maybe have 2 more plays to get a little bit closer, and you're definitely in field goal range. But Zach put his team in a position to go into overtime. Yes, you can look at a lot of this game and think that Zach was bad because there's a lot of tape to show you that he was not great. But there were moments where he stepped up to the plate, and he definitely succeeded. He left the field, giving his team a chance to play another down. Greg Zuerlein, who's been pretty solid all year long, couldn't come through. Now, to joke a little bit, because it's bad times here for the Jets. What's going on?
What?
What's going on, man?
What?
Is 0-5, 1-4 alive?
We're not going 0-5.
How confident are you in that now?
I'm like 90% confident.
Because I'm feeling very confident Jags win on Thursday. The Seahawks is your best chance.
I also agree Seattle's our best chance. Seattle's not been playing good football.
I don't think you're beating Miami, especially in Miami. It's a division game. I get it. Are you going 2-0 against them?
I mean, the first game was out Tua, so it's not like it's not like Tua's seen this defense, you know?
I don't disagree. I just find it very tough to see you guys winning that on the road.
90% chance we don't go 1-5 is crazy. Yeah. I right now, me as a Jets fan, I'm at like 60-70%.
Like it's happening.
To be fair, the context of my argument was we just upgraded at quarterback.
See, I knew you were gonna throw this at me. I knew you were gonna
run
throw
back
this
the tape.
at me.
The first thing I said was we just upgraded at quarterback. Now all of a sudden Zach's back.
Now that's why I don't want to hear it because Zach did play okay.
He didn't lose us the game, without a doubt.
And Mike White's not winning that game either, bro.
I'm giving Zach a C+. A C+ because he had a bad quarter. I would even give him a B-. Honestly, dude, when you needed him in that that last drive, he was big time. He was big. He made a lot of big-time throws. And I'll be the first to tell you when Zach is really bad. I don't.
No. Well, this is what we're comparing him to. We're comparing Zach Wilson to Zach Wilson. We're comparing Zach Wilson right now to. We're comparing Zach Wilson to franchise quarterback to competent quarterback.
I'm just talking about Zach.
Yeah,
Zach to Zach because that's the only fair way to evaluate him right now.
For sure. If you're comparing this game compared to the totality of the season, Zach gets a B probably for me.
Yeah.
If you compare this game to Mike White's Minnesota and Bills game, it's better.
This was one of the better games.
Mike White's only good game was against the Bears where they had nobody.
The best performance by a Jets quarterback this year was Mike White against the Bears. Absolutely. That is number one. Yeah. Number two, I understand you guys beat the Bills. I'm throwing this Zach Wilson game against the Lions as the number 2 best performance by a Jets quarterback. I just think that is true. He made big throw after big throw in that last drive.
Listen, and
I think he had a great first half. I'm not going to look at one quarter where he was horrendous.
I'm not looking at just one quarter.
He was
either.
horrendous.
There's just so many plays that he missed bad.
I don't disagree, but when you needed him, he was there.
He gave us the lead. And
listen, you're right. The defense was phenomenal. An offense that has been rolling. I didn't even get a chance to talk about the Lions, and then I'll allow you to shed light on the Rich Eisen show, or I'm sorry, whichever you wanted to talk about. The defense has been great, and against the Lions offense that has been clicking on all cylinders basically all season long. You were able to was there an injury to one of the guys? Because I feel like we saw Justin Jackson start to get a little bit of run. But DeAndre Swift was eating you guys. It was like 8 for 53. Jamal was like the most inefficient of all of them. But they were able to run past you guys relatively well. But against the pass, you guys did your thing. Amon-Ra, 7 for 70. That's fine. But you guys were able to stop them. The Lions have been great. Defensively, you spoke about it. Rush defense has been phenomenal. Pass defense has gotten progressively better. Still not good. Still has its ways to go. But this is a team that you need to look at. And if you are an NFC team, you don't want to play them right now. Yes, you're the Eagles. You're confident you can beat them. The Cowboys, I'm confident they could beat them. I'm not going to.
The Lions have a chance in that game. They can beat the Cowboys. The only team, the Lions, I wouldn't. The Eagles would beat them.
Yes.
The Niners would beat them.
Yes.
The Lions could beat the Cowboys, Minnesota, and everybody else.
The Lions can beat anyone. I think I cannot give you the Cowboys, though, or the Eagles. Obviously, the Eagles, the Niners. Brock Purdy has looked all right. If Brock Purdy can be continuously mid to above mid, yes, I think that's pretty common. They beat the Lions. But the Cowboys, I don't see it happening. Dak was really good. We're going to talk about him a little later. Dak has been really good when you've needed him, especially against the Jaguars. He had a very solid game. One mistake that I wouldn't even say was his fault, really, not even at all, ended up costing him the game. The Lions to wrap it up, the Lions are a team no one wants to face. Regardless of how great we feel like these other teams are, the Lions are playing great football. And there's a lot of teams that are great at running the football. And right now, Detroit is one of those teams that is going to stop. They stopped Saquon Barkley. They stopped Dalvin Cook. And now Zonovan. Yes, Zonovan Knight has been very good since getting a more prominent role. He was a non-factor this weekend. Against Minnesota, you guys call me haters. I'm taking the Lions.
I don't think that's crazy.
And I say you guys. I'm not talking you guys. I'm talking the millions.
It's
the Lions are legit, man.
Especially
they
against
really
Minnesota.
are a good team.
I feel damn near more comfortable against that.
You mentioned something really good that's going to touch on this point. The Jets won. Expectations have gotten grander now, which is why the impatience for Zach is here. Zach Wilson, Mike White, consistent quarterbacking, Mike White's better. Is he so much better than Zach that I wouldn't start Zach and see what I have in him? No. Zach is still a starter to me. He still should be starting to me, and that's why, the Bears game probably, put him on a little timeout or give him the first half, like you said. I really agreed with that statement, and go from there. Call me crazy, but I think next season, if Zach is our starter and Breece Hall is back and we make improvements on the offensive line, there's no reason why we can't win.
For sure. I mean, we were just doing it earlier this year.
Exactly.
But win what exactly?
We can win games.
See, we know you can do that, though.
And we give Zach one more year to see if he develops.
There's no expectations. Now. You've shown that you guys can be a real strong playoff contender.
But I say all that to say this. Alex Smith knows more than anybody about being put in bad situations. He was in San Francisco. It's horrible. The Jets are not that situation. But Alex Smith does know when a quarterback is not being developed properly. He can spot it. I trust his analysis on it. And he's been a big advocate in the past of quarterbacks sitting their rookie season. Zach Wilson comes in as a rookie. In the preseason, he looked great. In the regular season, he was on pace to throw the most interceptions in a season, like the first couple of games. That should have probably told everybody that, Zach's not ready to start yet. We probably should have sat him, let him develop, and had Mike White be the starter last year or Joe Flacco, whoever it was. Then he got injured. He played better after that. We didn't have any supporting cast around him. Then this season, just to put it into context, he almost tears his ACL in the preseason, the first week. He doesn't get all those reps in the preseason. He misses the first couple of weeks in the regular season. And the first couple games he's thrown into, Steelers defense, Dolphins, Bills, Patriots, Packers, Broncos. Those are some of the toughest defenses in the league, some of the smartest defensive coaches in the league. And for the most part, we're only judging him off the Patriot games. He was good against Miami. He was good against Buffalo. We won against Buffalo. He was not good against the Broncos. He was whatever.
Yeah.
Packers, he was whatever. Steelers game-winning drive. It was the Packers game. It was the Patriots game, as part of me, that made us go,
both of them.
We have to give up on this guy. It really hasn't been enough time. And I think Alex Smith, what he means is not that we haven't surrounded him with talent. For one, the receiver talent is there, no doubt. Our offensive line still stinks. It does stink. And I want to use this example, right? Justin Fields this year has taken everybody by storm. What was the reasoning behind that? Because this Bears offense has not been this how it's looked now until about week 5, 6. Justin Fields started out very slow. The Texans game was bad. He threw 2 interceptions. Luke Getsy switches the entire offense to cater to Justin Fields. And that's something that I have yet to see Mike LaFleur do for Zach. Cater the offense to what Zach does well, put the training wheels on him, and just let him do what he's comfortable with. That's something that I do think Alex Smith spots. Daniel Jeremiah, who I respect, he's one of the top scouts in the business and the media, has said the Jets and Zach are not a fit right now. The Jets want a methodical quarterback, and Zach right now is a home run hitter. So I do understand it from that standpoint. I think that the Jets would be giving up too quick on Zach Wilson. I do. But with the fan base's frustrations, how they're reacting to every Zach Wilson missed throw, even if he has 4 good ones, if he has 1 bad one, I mean, people are pointing out the throw in the flat he missed to Berrios where, he should hit. He had throws that he completed in the flat that game, too.
Another one that stinks. You would have liked to hit that ball over the top to Barrios also. Just overthrew him a little bit.
Yeah, he did. I thought it was in Barrios' hands. When I saw the replay, it was in his hands. It was coming a bit too hot. Zach throws the ball really hard. But, I have a feeling that we're just going to run this guy out of town, and it's a shame. It really is. We'll see if this is a Geno-like arc. And I don't say it's a shame because I think he's going to become this great quarterback. I say it because we're not giving him a chance, man. We're not giving him a chance. We're nitpicking this guy to death, like Robert Saleh has said with the fine tooth comb. Now look at this. These are weeks. First, I'm going to do Mike White.
Crying. This is 45 minutes.
Week 13 to 14. This is Mike White versus the Bills and Vikings. This is comparative to all the quarterbacks that have played in those 2 weeks. Jared Goff actually is the first in EPA per play in those 2 weeks. Mike White ranks 24th. Completion percentage above expectation. Mike White ranks 28th. Air yards. Mike White ranks 14th. This week, Zach Wilson, he ranks 16th in EPA. Completion percentage above expectation, although he was super inaccurate, it ranked 21st, better than Mike White. And air yards, Zach Wilson, 14.5 air yards this week, which led everybody. He was airing the ball out down the field. So when we look at these advanced numbers, Zach Wilson in this game was better than Mike White the last 2 games, but with Mike White, the fan base is enamored with. They love him to death. That Zach can, the basic stats, Zach had a better passer rating than him. Basic stats, advanced stats, Zach was better. But, nobody wants to look at that. They just want to shit on Zach. and probably deservedly so. You do expect more from a second overall pick this far into their career. And it's only been, 21 starts, so a season in some games. I understand the expectations for him, but come on, man. I just, if it were up to me, I would give him one more year, man.
Oh, you would give him the next 10 years.
No, I'd give him one more year. And not even one more year like the entire year, but like one more year the first 6 games, 7 games. Like, you know what I'm saying? Like, give him a nice chunk of games, and then I'll see what he does. But it's just, it feels like the locker room is over Zach for the most part, and they're like with Mike White. The fan base is over it. This is a situation that's very hard for Robert Saleh to kind of bottle up and keep in house, and even for Joe Douglas, because based on how this season ends, because if Zach does go 3-0 or make the playoffs, then it's a different story.
Sure.
But if we're putting everything into expectation, even if Zach plays well but we don't make the playoffs, it's going to be very hard to sell this fan base that Zach is back as the starter next year.
And it might be the worst position the Jets could be in, because I remember sitting here in August and saying the number one thing the Jets have to figure out is, do they have the guy at quarterback? And if Zach plays, I guess, kind of like this, where he has some great plays and then some plays that make you scratch your head saying you can't do that as an NFL quarterback, we don't really have that answer. So, like, somehow, some way, Zach's going to have 10, 12 starts this season, whatever it is, and we still might not know if he's a franchise guy. That's the worst place you could really be in if you're a franchise. And the only thing I'll say about Mike White, when you don't have a franchise quarterback, fans love the backup. It's the unknown. This guy could potentially be something.
Love the backup when you're winning. They love the backup when you're winning.
But that's the thing, Drew, is that
fan bases love the backup when you're winning games.
But that's the thing, Drew, is that Mike White was 1-2. He wasn't winning games either.
Case Keenum, adored by Minnesota.
Yeah, and he lost 2.
To the Vikings and Bills.
Yeah, and the Vikings game, they all love to say Berrios dropped it. Mike White had a chance last drive of the game. Before the interception he threw, he almost threw another one to the middle of the field that the safety he looked at it, he read it the entire way. So come on, man. Mike White, he's a backup at best.
Sounds like the interception that almost happened in the Detroit game.
But like I said, like I'd rather, the unknown is Zach Wilson. He's the true unknown. He's the guy that the talent is there, and maybe he could become something. Mike White, we know what he is. Like, we know. He's average. He's a backup. That's what we know. It's 5 years, 5-6 years.
It's going to be a very interesting offseason for the Jets. It's a big decision to make for Joe Douglas.
My goodness.
Big decision to make.
Man.
On to Jacksonville Thursday night. This might be the best Thursday night game of the year, I'll be honest.
That's going to be
Chiefs-Chargers. Chiefs-Chargers like week 3.
I'm going to be tuned in all the way in.
Yep, for sure.
I'm going to the game.
That's going to be lit.
Shout out to the guys over at Mojo.
Shout out Mojo.
But,
they're sending you to the game?
Yeah, they are.
That's dope.
They are. But if it rains, I'm letting them know.
It's chopped.
You're not seeing me. You're not seeing me.
So, Dehls, what are you doing for the game?
Crib? You want to watch it?
Yeah, sure. Okay. Let's plan something out, man.
We do something.
Listen,
we got to get on Mojo for that. How they just give you a ticket and then give us tickets?
I reached out to him.
Oh, okay.
I reached out to him. They were nice enough.
You want to see Trevor Zach Wilson play?
So I reached out to him to see if I could go to the Miami game. And then they were just like, we don't have that available, unfortunately, but I'll send you to the Jags game.
Prime time.
I was like, you know what?
It's the only prime time game of the year for the Jets. Just that.
For sure. That's why I'm excited for it mostly.
Honestly,
if it wasn't raining, I'd be set. I'd be excited seeing Trev, seeing the guys, both Jaguars. Jaguars are playing some really good football.
Yeah,
I'm more so excited, with all due respect, guys.
I was waiting to hear.
Wait, actually, I will be honest. I actually like
seen the Jets play a bunch this year.
I'll be honest. I actually like that the game's primetime because I'd tailgate. Get there at 5 p.m., nice little tailgate. I'm not getting there at 9 a.m., bro, to tailgate.
Yeah, I'm taking G with us.
Bro,
it's tough.
9 in the morning, and you're going to eat burgers and hot dogs. Like, bro, it's 9 in the morning.
Yeah.
It's crazy.
People get there dumb early, bro.
They do get there early. But they're not really slamming hot dogs. They're slamming something else. Bunch of Teddy Brewskis.
Yeah. Getting mad drunk. Nah, I got to hit a Mojo, man. We got to get them tickets. I'd go, too. If it doesn't rain, I will go. Because I went to the Jets and Jags game last year when Zach Wilson had that amazing touchdown run, and we won the game.
Did win that game.
So, maybe I got to be there for my guy Zach, man. These games are very, very important.
Another big test for the Jets defense. Trevor Lawrence might be the hottest quarterback in the NFL.
Yeah, I'm excited.
I
wish I had a Trevor jersey.
That segues perfectly into the next topic.
Let's do it.
Trevor Lawrence has been
superstar.
One of, if not the hottest quarterback in the NFL. So I think it's in the last, 4 to 7 weeks. He has 14 touchdowns.
Since week 9.
To 1 interception. I mean, he's been playing lights out. But we can't forget about that other guy who was drafted with the 11th, if not 12th overall pick. I'm getting my picks wrong right now. Yeah. Justin Fields. I mean, as a runner, Trevor Lawrence is doing it mostly as a passer. Justin Fields as a runner, he already has 1,000 rushing yards on the year. So this question is simple. Trevor Lawrence or Justin Fields long term? Who are you going with?
Super easy. The guy who can throw the ball, elite. And that's Trevor Lawrence. Yeah. And Trevor Lawrence is not only just an elite passer, but he also is a great maneuverer of the pocket, able to extend plays, he has great rushing abilities, great strong. He has very good rushing abilities. I wouldn't say great because there's definitely quarterbacks that are better than him at rushing the football, but that does not exclude him from the conversation of being a very good rusher when he needs to be. Trevor Lawrence is making Zay Jones, and credit to Zay Jones, who's been playing phenomenal football. He is making guys like Christian Kirk, Zay Jones, Evan Ingram look a whole hell of a lot better than they are. And listen, credit to them. They have to execute. Ultimately, it's on them to have success.
Dude, stop it.
Don't you lose me with that one. Respectfully, you lose me with that one.
He's a mismatch at tight end.
He's a burner. For a tight end, he's
an athletic tight end.
Very fast.
He's an athletic tight end.
That's about it you're going to get from me. But Trevor Lawrence, with a limited offensive skill set around him, has been making these guys and bringing the most out of these guys and putting together an offense that has been exhilarating these last 2 weeks. Against Tennessee, it was a light show. Against the Cowboys, it was a light show. And against the Cowboys defense, who's been playing basically spectacular all season long, to give up almost, I think, over 500 yards of offense is insane to me. And it's a credit to what Trevor Lawrence has been doing. Credit to Justin Fields as well. We're looking at maybe the best rusher in the NFL. To say that is such a huge compliment when a guy like Lamar Jackson exists. That is how great Justin Fields is.
Sure.
His ability to make a defender miss is there with Lamar Jackson. His speed, he might be faster than Lamar Jackson. That run that he had against the Eagles, where he breaks out of the sack, rushes towards the sideline, spins off, somehow, some way. I'm so upset that he stepped out of bounds because that play would have been one of the best of the season. Even still that he stepped out, it was still unbelievable to see. I don't want to sound like this is not a crazy. This is a fair conversation to have because Justin Fields has been playing great. But what separates quarterbacks from one another is your ability to pass. And I've been super consistent with that, which is why you've heard me say I'm taking a Kyler over a Lamar, which is why you've heard me say that I can't go all in on Justin Fields or I was hesitant on Jalen Hurts.
Now
because
how you were on Tua.
Oh, absolutely. Because it separates a quarterback because the way that you win in the NFL is with your arm. And Trevor Lawrence is one of one, honestly. He really is that great of a quarterback, and he has put himself in that class. He has got himself in the conversation as well with the elites of the NFL. Mm-hmm. I would still take the Mahomes, Allen, Herbert, Burrow. If I'm missing someone, help me fill it in. Lamar, sure. But at the minimum next year, he gets grouped with those guys because of what he's doing with this group of guys in Jacksonville.
I love Justin Fields. Justin Fields is, I'm super high on him. I like him even more than Ryan Tannehill, which is a hot topic at this table over the past few weeks.
Was it hot? Wasn't a hot topic.
It's not hot. You just misinterpreted
You're maximizing.
what we said.
You guys are casual.
You misinterpreted what we said.
But
you just said guys are casual. Who's the better thrower of the football, bro? Now.
You'd have to be pretty crazy not to go with Trevor Lawrence. The way he's been playing right now. And Drew, I mean, you said it perfectly. Justin Fields is amazing. He's someone I would want as my franchise quarterback. You put him up against anyone else in this class not named Trevor Lawrence, I'm taking Justin Fields over Zach, over Trey Lance, over Mac, over Davis, obviously Davis Mills, over all of these guys. Justin Fields has the potential to be a top 10 quarterback in this league. He just has to improve as a passer. Right now, year 2 Justin Fields, I think is behind year 2 Lamar as a passer. I think he's behind year 2 Jalen Hurts as a passer.
By far. Year 2?
Yeah, I still think Jalen Hurts.
Close.
Yeah, it is close, but I still think Jalen Hurts last year for sure. But there's a couple issues with Justin Fields. The first one being his accuracy isn't quite there yet. Now, he definitely has improved. He's up to 62% this season for what he does with his legs. Second year in the NFL,
Really
you
good.
have to be pretty happy with the 62% completion percentage.
Yeah.
I want to say he was below 60% last year, but my biggest concern about him right now, he's a big guy, right? So I don't mind him going on these runs, but he's been in the league for 2 years. He's had 4 injuries, that have cost him games, right? So while he does have this 6'4", 220 frame, he's a big guy. He could take hits. We've also seen him get banged up. Now, he was able to come back in this game, and I actually, I was watching Slay on one of his, on the volume. He was breaking down that run, and it was hilarious how he was breaking it down. Like, he broke tackles off, like, Hassan Reddick. Like, the things he were doing were just completely and utter, like, nonsense. Like, if that happened to me in Madden, I would be so fucking pissed off because I'd say, this is bullshit. This is never going to happen ever in real life. And Justin Fields goes out there and makes one of the most amazing runs you'll ever see. But right now, Trevor Lawrence has just been exceptional. He's way more refined as a passer. And while he's definitely far from the rusher Justin Fields is, he's a great athlete. He can make plays happen with his legs. Obviously not to the extent of Fields, but he could get in and out of the pocket. Like you said, great maneuver in the pocket. He could also rush. He could get you 30, 40 rushing yards a game really without any problem. But right now, if you just compare their stats, Trevor Lawrence has played one more game, but Trev's completing 66% to Fields 62. Lawrence 3,800 total yards, 28 touchdowns, compared to Fields 3,000 yards and 23 total touchdowns. Lawrence 7 interceptions to Fields 10. And I don't want to make this just a basic statistic test, argument. Yeah. Mm-hmm. When you watch them play, you see the difference between Trevor Lawrence and Justin Fields. You see the throws Trevor Lawrence makes. He's made some of the best throws of the year this season. He has 2 statement comeback wins against the Ravens and the Cowboys, 2 of the most well-run franchises over the last few years. 2 teams that are most likely gonna be playoff teams. Both teams that have been really good defenses for the majority of this season. He has 2 statement wins over those 2 games where they probably shouldn't have won either of those games. And Trevor Lawrence went down and make things happen with his arm. So right now, I would take Trevor Lawrence. I think the upside is higher than Justin Fields for sure. Don't get me wrong. Justin Fields, like I said, he could be a top 10 quarterback in this league. But right now, Trevor Lawrence is playing at a level with the Burrows, with the Mahomes for this 5-6 week stretch.
Right now on Mojo, Justin Fields is $29.16, and Trevor Lawrence is $64.97. If we're talking about who am I taking on Mojo,
it really shouldn't be a conversation.
I'd go with Justin Fields.
Absolutely.
On Mojo.
What was the price?
Justin Fields is $29.16, and Lawrence is $64.97.
Oh my God!
If we're talking about Mojo, it's not even a conversation.
If you think Fields can be just as good as Trevor Lawrence, that means if you were to buy a share in Fields right now, then your investment would jump up like it'd jump up $30, which you double your money in that case. Justin Fields is severely underpriced, and I'm going to mention some quarterbacks that are higher than him right now. Talking about who I take long term, I think when people say, oh yeah, Trevor's a great passer, he's a decent runner, Fields is a good passer, elite runner, that's why I'm going Fields, it minimizes everything that has to do with passing the football, right? Because who has better pocket presence? It's Trevor Lawrence.
Absolutely.
Who's more accurate? It's Trevor Lawrence. Who has a better feel when throwing the football?
Trevor.
It's Trevor Lawrence. Who is better under pressure? It's Trevor Lawrence. You can knock off every check mark there is to passing the football, playing the quarterback position, playing in the pocket, rolling outside, making throws outside the pocket. Trevor Lawrence is better in all those aspects. And Justin Fields, to me, right now at least, does not come close. That being said, Fields doesn't have talent around him. The Bears do have $100 million cap space, and they could draft great wide receivers, but that does not guarantee Justin Fields great weapons. We've seen Lamar Jackson in Baltimore. The Ravens drafted a first-round receiver too. That has not changed their landscape. We know Trevor Lawrence is getting Calvin Ridley next season. He's getting a wide receiver number 1.
Jags become so much fun, man.
Trevor Lawrence, he's been breaking out this year. With Calvin Ridley next year, I'm going to make this take right here. What is this, December 20th?
Make it, man.
The Jaguars are winning the AFC South in 2023, and Trevor Lawrence will be an MVP candidate. I think it's that simple. He's going to take that big of a jump next season. Right now, 24 touchdowns, 7 interceptions, 96 passer rating, 13th in QBR. He has 4 rushing touchdowns on the season, 3,500 yards. Trevor Lawrence is unbelievable. I don't want to minimize what Fields is doing, though, because Justin Fields, 2,000 yards, 1,000 yards rushing. He has 23 total touchdowns, 88 passer rating, and he doesn't have offensive weapons.
I love how we all took the same approach at this.
Yeah, because we don't want to disrespect
but
Fields.
Fields is amazing.
Like, I think you look at Trevor Lawrence and Justin Fields and their range of outcomes. Justin Fields' ceiling is what Lamar Jackson is currently. Trevor Lawrence ceiling is what Justin Herbert, I think, is.
It's a fact.
And I am going with Justin Herbert over Lamar Jackson.
I know my feelings
personally.
on that. So.
And even that, I don't, Lamar Jackson is such an underrated passer that I don't even know if like Justin Fields can be that level of a passer, because I do think Lamar is very underrated. He just doesn't have talent around him.
Mm-hmm.
So we see the range of outcomes, and if we're comparing that, then I would take Trevor Lawrence. And it's crazy because I said that the Jaguars will win the AFC South in 2023. They could win it this season. I think that Week 18 is going to be the deciding game. Jaguars-Titans, AFC South, and I'm picking the Jaguars in that game. I'm going to go with them.
And this debate is basically, we're not really debating right now, but this argument is basically what the argument was coming out of college. Trevor Lawrence, Justin Fields is great, and while he wasn't the second quarterback taken in the draft, a lot of people had him as the second quarterback, and a lot of people said if it wasn't for Trevor Lawrence, we would be hyping Justin Fields up as this generational prospect. But Trevor Lawrence was just so great, and it really credits him because you could so easily in your first year league how important it is to develop and how important it is to gain confidence in that first year. The fact that he had just about as terrible as a first-year rookie season you could possibly have, and he's able to bounce back like this. Now, it did take a couple months, right? Week 9 and on is really when he's become special, right? But the fact that he's able to get to this level after having a terrible rookie season, right? We were saying, oh, can't you just throw out his rookie season? Can't you throw out Zach Wilson's rookie season because of injuries, bad offensive line play, all of that? Look how he's bouncing back. I mean, we talk about it all the time. Resilience is almost arguably the number one trait you need as a quarterback, because in the NFL, you're going to lose to some of the most terrible teams. You don't think you'll be a 15-point favorite and you'll lose that game. You'll go against the worst pass defense in the league and you'll throw 3 interceptions. That's just the nature of this league. So the fact that you're able to have such a bad and terrible rookie season where you're not good statistically, your team was the worst team in the league, you had the most dumpster fire head coach maybe in NFL history, and you could come back year 2 and play like an elite top-level quarterback, that just shows the trajectory he is on and the path he has to become one of the better quarterbacks in the league.
There's a reason why his name was mentioned with Andrew Luck's, Peyton Manning's. He's a different, special type of talent. We haven't seen a prospect like this since Andrew Luck. He is everything that we thought that he would be, and he's only going to continue to get better. Peyton Manning had a horrible rookie season also, one of the worst we've ever seen, and we know how that career ended up.
Not bad.
Trevor Lawrence, man, he really is something special.
Justin Fields, like I mentioned earlier, his price on Mojo is $29. This is Justin Fields versus other quarterbacks on Mojo and their share price. So, would you rather Justin Fields or Andy Dalton? Dalton's at $58.
Oh, my God. It's not close, Justin Fields.
It's Justin Fields. Close your eyes. Make that pick.
Justin Fields versus Carson Wentz, $38.
Carson Wentz is a backup in this league. Justin Fields is a superstar. Come on.
The answer is Justin Fields.
So right now, Fields, he's lower in price than these two guys I just mentioned. Jared Goff, $56.
$56 for Jared Goff. When Justin Fields costs $29 and Tua costs $39 is insane. Yeah, I'm going with Justin Fields.
I'll also be taking Justin Fields. Although Goff obviously been playing great.
He has.
But we know he's probably not the long-term answer in Detroit.
That's probably where his price is going to remain.
Could be.
No, listen, if the Lions decided with that Rams pick to select C.J. Stroud, it makes 100% sense if he's available, because I think Bryce is going to end up being the first pick overall. If C.J. Stroud is the selection, I'm fine with it, but I do not want to see C.J. Stroud starting. No way. I want to see CJ sit the entire year.
Yeah, if you have Goff, absolutely.
Goff is good enough to start.
For sure.
Ryan Tannehill, $58.
What is it, guys?
No,
this
Ryan
is obviously
Tannehill or
Fields.
Justin Fields?
I mean, we're talking about price. Yeah,
Guy's
Fields.
sicking me.
Can you stop it, bro?
Justin
Stop
Fields.
it. The answer is Justin.
Did you guys see my tweet after he made that run?
Yeah, I saw it. I saw it.
Got a lot of love on
Hella
that.
love.
Hella
I was
love.
like, can these guys relax?
And to let you guys know, the audience know, that this price, they're priced at this right now because it's a career projection. Andy Dalton, early in his career, got to the playoffs multiple times. He's a multiple-time Pro Bowler. Ryan Tannehill had some great seasons. Jared Goff had 2 MVP-level seasons. Carson Wentz had 2017, but's been going downhill since then. So this is why their price is currently where it's at now. Justin Fields, second year in the NFL, that's why he's this underpriced. But if you think Fields will have a better career than these guys, then now would be the time to invest in Fields because you think his career is going to be better than these guys and you can make some money off that with Mojo. And John has the QR code. We have the Mojo link in our bio. But I think we all did take Trevor Lawrence. But Justin Fields is right there. I think he's right there.
I wouldn't say he's right there, but he's very good at football.
I think he's right there. I do.
But Trevor,
Yeah, I think he's right there. You know,
is Justin Fields a fringe top 10 quarterback?
he's definitely top 15.
Well, I'll tell you what. Trevor Lawrence is a top 10 quarterback.
No, I think Trevor Lawrence is a top 8 quarterback, top
Okay.
8, 7.
So it's not close.
I
That's
think
it.
there's a gap right now
That's it.
between
That's
Trev
all.
and Fields.
We can end the conversation
It's
there.
just I look at Justin Fields and I see if he can get a great wide receiver, some great protection, and the leap he can take next year.
Sure.
They can win the division next year if they play their cards right.
Got a lot of holes to fix.
I don't know about that.
I mean, they're still not
Division,
winning yet.
I don't know. I don't want to sound like I'm shitting on what you're saying. I don't
The
want.
NFC North is gonna be wide open, bro.
It is. Like, Green Bay might be the worst team.
I don't know. Wide open, but I feel like I don't want to say that. It's Minnesota and the Lions. I think next year is Minnesota and the Lions.
I mean, we saw the
Minnesota's
jump. We
defense
saw the
is
jump
still-
Detroit took this last year from
that's what
this
I'm
year.
saying.
The Bears can take a similar jump.
They just
Especially
don't,
when they
didn't-
have the quarterback,
who
a
looked-
quarterback that's could be the best in
Good
the
point.
division.
Good point. That's a very fair point there. But we saw.
Aaron Rodgers still there.
Oh, my bad.
Yeah.
I'm just thinking Jordan Love.
I
bro.
know.
He's better. He could be better than Jordan Love, really?
It's close. Jordan Love's gonna be a star, man. You better stop sleeping.
Just
on
think
him.
we
And
watch.
right now, Mojo, I think Jordan Love's like $3-4.
Really?
Yeah,
I might have to put a couple bucks on that.
yeah. I've already
Throw
done
a
it.
multiplier.
I've already done it.
Jordan loves $3.
Nah, he's like $4 or $5.
Okay, that's a
But
steal.
regardless,
That's a
yeah,
steal.
Stupid. Stupid.
We watched the Lions play last year, and we saw the potential.
Yeah.
I feel like with the Bears, we see the offensive potential, but even still, as good as the offense has played, they are losing games. They have multiple holes to fix on defense. Receivers still are a huge question mark. The offensive line is still not good. It's just Justin Fields.
Yeah.
I think you have years to figure it out. You do have years because Justin Fields is hopefully your quarterback for those longs. But I think it's not next year. It could be maybe the year after.
They've had 8 one-possession games this year.
The defense, and how many points were they giving up?
I mean, a ton. But that's why if you could level up this defense, you know the offense can keep up with anybody in this league. I mean, they were winning pretty handily
You're
against
making
the Eagles.
fair points.
You know?
You're making fair points.
You got to hit on the draft. You got to hit on free agency.
Defense really is really bad,
It is.
and we've
you just
seen
traded Roquan and
we've seen that it can take longer than one off season to fix a defense. The Chargers defense still is
look at
not
the Jets.
fair.
I mean, it's a bit of an outlier because you
Fair.
draft Sauce. And
I was
becomes
gonna
just
say
one of
you
the
had
best corners in the league.
Sauce,
Q.
Johnson, Q
You
took
had
a
talent.
huge
Yeah, the
leap.
talent was
Mosley
there.
finally is healthy. Lawson comes in finally healthy. You signed DJ Reed. You guys really just
Well,
weren't-
that's why I guess we had Q, right? He was there solidified as
Yep.
an up and coming guy, and then we just hit a home run on DJ Reed, hit a home run on Sauce, and then everything kind of turns around. We had JFM there, who's a really good talent as well. Lawson's he's been up and down this year, but no, I agree. We had more talent than them.
You may have missed it. I'll go first with mine. Patrick Mahomes, 36 for 41, 336 yards, 2 touchdowns. He's going to be the MVP. And I think Jalen Hurts, him having a subpar performance
Shout out to
our dog.
versus the Bears and now the shoulder injury, I think Mahomes, week 1, overreaction, Mahomes MVP. I got him as winning the
What an
MVP.
overreaction.
It's a shame you wouldn't let me get that one off, man.
What an overreaction, Mahomes MVP. He
I
had,
know.
I think, 20 straight completions, they said at one point. Like he was on some other shit, bro.
I guess respect my overreaction, bro.
My this week in the NFL.
I
or
had
sorry,
another
you may
one.
have missed it.
I had
Fuck,
another
always
one.
fuck us up, huh?
I had another one.
Now
Oh,
let us go and then you give.
Go ahead.
Let us go and then you give yours. Because if you have ours, I'm gonna be bitter.
You're not gonna have mine.
I'm not gonna have either of yours. I know.
All right,
But you
then
can
go.
go. You can go. You can go.
Mine's not really about the NFL, but rather the NFL draft. Will Levis has reportedly been the QB1 on several teams' draft boards. Now, this could just be smoke.
Got to be something.
Bryce Young has been, touted as the number one guy, but CJ Stroud over these last couple months have definitely fallen down draft boards, while it seems like Will Levis has rose. He didn't have a great season his last year, but it seems like a lot of GMs and front offices are high on his tools. I mean, I'm seeing this guy being compared to Josh Allen. I haven't really broke down tape of Will Levis, but find it hard to believe he's shorter. He's not as big. I don't think he's as good as an athlete as Josh Allen was, but he's climbing up boards. We're going to have probably 3 quarterbacks in the first.
Bros, there's a picture of him like in the throwing motion. He has the tattoo on his bicep. Bro's pretty yoked.
Yeah.
He's pretty
Probably.
yoked.
I've seen those clips of Will Levis throwing flat-footed, and his arm talent it pops off.
It does.
And I think this quarterback draft isn't the best. Bryce Young. I love Bryce Young, but he's on the smaller side. I think durability is a concern with Bryce Young. CJ Stroud is a pocket passer, and Ohio State, I don't really trust Ohio State quarterbacks too much.
You're a Fields guy.
Justin Fields is an anomaly, and he can run. He's an elite runner, athlete.
He is.
CJ Stroud is not that.
Stroud has
CJ Stroud, yeah.
But here's a better question.
CJ Stroud's not one of my guys either.
Will Levis has the talent, physical talent, but so does Anthony Richardson. Would you rather draft Will Levis or Anthony Richardson? And this is not taking into account the pick. Just, one guy, you got to take who you're taking.
Levis is just so much more refined.
I was going to say, I would have loved to see AR one more year in college. Yeah. I really would have.
Yeah, he's just so much more refined, Will Levis, that is. But it's both of these guys, it's going to be landing spot dependent.
You wouldn't bet on Anthony Richardson's athletic ability and arm talent?
Yeah, but he has to get in the right spot. Like he's
AR might be a first rounder, which
I know. Well, that's quarterback for
you. Granted, they're in the right spot. Who would you take?
Richardson has the athletic profile to be insane, but right now he's just so raw as a passer. I would be taking Will.
Let me give you a TBD.
I definitely have to do more homework on Will. Because I've watched a lot of Anthony Richardson this year, and he needs a lot of work as a passer.
So you may have missed it. You didn't miss it. No way, no how. This play must have been shown 100 trillion times, and rightfully so. The Patriots and the Las Vegas Raiders had a great game, one of the better games that I've seen this regular season. Raiders were up as much as 17-3, and then the Patriots turned the tides. They end up going up as much as 24-17. Raiders with the last second drive has a crazy touchdown to Keelan Cole. He makes a crazy contorted catch, able to keep his toes in bound for the touchdown to tie the game up. And then the Patriots get the ball with basically no time remaining. A quick handoff to Ramondre. Ramondre has a nice solid run. Maybe 30 yards maybe? Ramondre trying to make something happen, pitches it back to Jacoby. I'm fine with it. It's a lateral. We've seen it. None to think of too much. But then Jacoby gets it, runs backwards 10 yards, flings the ball towards the middle of the field to Mac Jones with no one else around him. Chandler Jones snags the ball, puts Mac Jones to the ground, and cribs it for the win. One of the craziest, let me not say one of, the craziest ending I've ever seen in my life. I thought the Deshaun Jackson punt return was the craziest I was ever going to see. No. This one was the most ridiculous asinine play I've ever seen. But I understand it. The Patriots trying to make something happen. Never in their right minds did they think that would happen to them. But so boneheaded, so ridiculous that it did happen, and what a way to lose.
So there have been two.
I bet you needed it.
There have been two instances where this has happened to New England: the Miami Miracle and now the failed lateral.
That's another one that is in conversation for craziest.
What do you think was crazier, the Miami Miracle or the failed lateral?
This for
the
sure.
Miracle in the playoffs.
No, that wasn't in the playoffs.
The Stephon Diggs touchdown?
Oh
no, I said the Miami Miracle.
No, I'm sorry.
We're talking regular season.
The Kenyon Drake touchdown. Gronk misses the tackle.
Yeah.
No, the Minneapolis Miracle is one of the best plays ever.
Facts. I would take this over Miami one.
Absolutely. Because it's ridiculous. How does this happen?
I was so happy.
The Miami Miracle is also an amazing play, but laterals have happened. Something like this, where you lose a game on a lateral, That is just insane
Love
to me.
seeing just Belichick's players make boneheaded decisions.
And
All right, Jacoby,
you
Ramondre,
know, it's
love you
another
guys,
thing,
but-
and I hate to give you guys the
It's a Jets
stray. Ramondre took blame.
Yep. Jacoby.
Jacoby Myers took blame. Mac Jones took blame. Why is Ramondre taking blame? And why is Mac Jones taking blame? Right? I should have made the tackle. Ramondre, I did too much. Jacoby, that's on me. But God forbid Zach Wilson were to take a little bit of
I
blame.
thought we were done talking about the
I'm
Jets.
just saying.
He did take blame against the Lions.
I don't want to hear that.
He's taking
That's
blame
maturity. That's maturity. But he didn't
taking blame
when he
every
needed
game.
the most. I'm just saying. There's a level of maturity that comes with playing in the National Football League.
Without a doubt.
So there was a rookie quarterback that made his debut, Desmond Ridder, and I was antsy for this. Actually, I wasn't too antsy for this. I just thought Arthur
You were looking
Smith.
forward to it. That's it.
You invest on him in Mojo, no?
I did. You know, Arthur Smith, offensive guy. Saints were kind of struggling on defense. I said, you know what? Let me put some money into Desmond Ridder. I mean, this guy was horrible. He brought down my
He's
portfolio
bad.
down. 13 of 26, 97 yards total. He was bad. Bailed out of clean pockets. He had a near pick six in the second quarter. He almost had another interception. Both were to Alante Taylor, and he just couldn't come down with it. Desmond Ridder was bad. He was bad. He was bad.
No way around it.
And he brought down my portfolio. Not a bunch. I didn't invest a lot into him, but he definitely brought my shit down.
Y'all smoked the Warriors. You're up 30 right now.
Nice. The Knicks.
Yep.
8 in a row.
There you
Tell you,
go.
we're going to win 10 in a row.
Love New
And
York,
Christmas, Sixers,
man. Feels
Knicks.
good being on the right side of history. Why was I the only guy that rocked with the Knicks? Why couldn't you stay consistent with us, man?
I'm crying out with
New York needed you. We needed
I
you.
had us in the plane.
So did I.
Yeah.
But this, you said Star J isn't a star. That's rude.
I don't think he's a star. Randall's been the guy who's been leading
You
us.
took out star out of his nickname.
It's been
That's rude.
Randall. It's been Brunson. And
Star J.
Really,
IQ is
the
22.
yeah, the difference in our team has been Quinn
Quinn
Grimes starting.
Absolutely.
And Deuce McBride getting minutes. And Jericho
And-
Sims and Isaiah Hartenstein off the bench.
Just throw some respect on Star J. That's it.
RJ's fine.
That's it.
He's cool.
Just start calling him Star J again. That's
will
all I
not
need.
call him Star J.
It's one of the best nicknames in the game.
It is a
He's
great
RJ
nickname.
Barrett.
You just got to live up to it.
Star J Barrett.
His name is RJ Barrett.
Don't wear it out.
His name is RJ Barrett. That's
No
his
further
name.
notice.
Jalen Brunson's your best player by far.
No, Randall is.
I would take Jalen. I think his impact
Brunson
more.
is definitely that guy.
Is he more impactful? Is that what I'm looking for?
I guess
You
he
guys
just
have
sets
just
the
needed
offense
a
up better.
point guard so badly for so many
Yeah,
years.
and I told y'all about Jalen Brunson in the offseason. Nobody wanted
Hey,
to listen.
whoa. You're not going to do me
Well,
like that.
you liked it,
Thank
but
you. That's
everybody
it.
else didn't want to listen.
No,
you know,
they're
Rivers being
casuals.
a hater over here, and
Who else?
I've been telling him about his Bulls, and now the Bulls
Yo,
stink.
we saw eye to eye a lot.
And now Zach LaVine, you know, there's
Crazy.
problems with Zach
Doesn't
LaVine.
happen.
I
That
need
makes me
my
sad.
flowers on the Bulls' downfall because I've been called this.
Nah, you shouldn't apologize.
I've been called this.
You shouldn't have.
No, I called it in the offseason.
Oh, facts.
After,
facts,
because
facts.
I took back my apology.
You did.
I said I feel sickened with myself that I ever apologized to that bum franchise.
Bum
suck.
franchise is nuts.
I mean, for the last 20,
20 years
years
they've been bums.
let's talk about the Knicks.
Okay. Well, fair.
What are we doing right now, Dehls?
We're talking about football.
No, I said,
Oh.
what are we talking about right now? Right now, Knicks versus Bulls.
Oh,
Knicks,
yeah, I
baby, we on top. So I have some trivia here, right? Somebody gave me this suggestion. You guys should talk about or give your take on which receivers will end up with 1,000 yards this year.
Ah,
So I have a list of receivers that are close to the number.
How many games do we have left?
Three games.
Okay.
3 games left. So 3 games left. Which receivers will finish with 1,000 yards?
let me pull up these receiver stats real quick.
No, I got them. Don't worry.
Okay.
I got
All right.
you. I got
Thanks.
you.
Thanks, babe.
Michael Pittman, he has 815 currently.
He's not going to get 1,000 yards, no.
1850.
Or 15.
815.
Oh, 815. 3 games. He's been playing well recently. I think he comes up just short.
I think he doesn't get it. The Colts offense is too inconsistent. Chris
Ryan.
Godwin, 785 yards currently.
That's a lot of yards. And he's been dogging
He had
recently.
a solid game on Sunday. I think he's going to come up short. This Bucs offense is pretty gross right now.
I think the goal is going to be to get Mike Evans the 1,000 more
keep
so than
his
his.
streak.
Yeah. I don't know how it's possible. This team is just not that good right now. I'm going to say no. Mike
Two-
Evans is getting it for sure.
What's he at?
He's at 888. He is getting it.
Yeah. He's going to get it.
You know what?
I think Godwin gets it. 200-something yards. He'll get that in 3 games.
I think you know what? I think I am
Just 70
changing.
a game.
I feel like he could get it. I feel like he could get it.
Donovan Peoples-Jones. He's at 782.
That's crazy. He has come up an insane rise this
mean,
season.
And you can't just credit it to Deshaun either. You can't. He had
Brissett.
success
He was
with
eating
Brissett
with
as
Brissett.
well.
But with Deshaun now, I would trust him to get
He's
1,000.
at 780, you said?
782.
He's been favoring him over Amari, which has been shocking to me, honestly.
Yeah. I'm going to go no. I'm going to go under. I'm going under on all these guys.
I'm going to say he actually does get it. I feel like that offense, the passing at least, has been progressively getting better and better. Slowly but surely. It hasn't been what we've expected, but that is also what to be expected when Deshaun's missed over a year and a half of time. But I think he gets it.
Gabe Davis, 752 yards.
Unfortunately, I do not believe that Gabe Davis will be getting 1,000 yards this season.
You know Gabe Davis, he seems very overdue for a 200-yard game, so you never know. But I'll be taking the under on Gabe Davis 1,000.
You have no choice, bro.
I have a feeling that Gabe Davis does it, man. I think there's going to be one of these games where he just goes off and he gets 1,000. He gets 1,000. We have that bet.
We do.
That's why I need him to get that 1,000.
Speaking of bets also, Jaguars and Dolphins getting close.
It is getting close. We'll see.
Who knows?
Better record, was it?
Yeah, better record.
Or don't the Dolphins have 9 wins or 8?
They have, I think, 8 wins.
Okay.
Top of my head, I think.
Next one is Deontay Johnson. He's at 745.
Who needs 250 yards? I don't think he's going to
I
get
don't
that.
see it happening.
Deontay's taking a step back this year, man. He was one of my favorite receivers last year, and this year he's just...
I mean, Big Ben to KP and...
Well, Big Ben would just target him out the ass.
Rightfully so.
Yeah.
It's a different offense this year, unfortunately.
Akins has been great over the last few weeks, too.
Yes, but, I mean, these last 2, we've seen Mitch, and
With
past
Mitch,
week was...
yeah.
The thing is, KP really likes Pickens.
He does.
It's an obvious connection there.
Rookie bros.
It has nothing to do with Deontay not being as good. It's just so Pickens and him have just a quick connection. I'm going to say no, but that's not an indictment on his game.
John, is Deontay getting 1,000? He's at 750. Steelers guy. No? There it is.
I'm going to go with no. Brandon Ayuk, 774.
I don't think so, man. I think with Brock Purdy now at the helm, I think that his primary focus is CMC, quick read to George Kittle. If it's not there, I don't think that Brandon Ayuk is going to be one of those guys.
My Ayuk over Gabe Davis take is aging very well. I love Brandon Ayuk. But
absolutely.
With,
Ayuk it clears.
Yeah, with Purdy, if it was Jimmy G, I think this is easy.
It's a clearing.
Who said he didn't clear, though?
Well, I just felt like that was a. I
No,
feel
I
like
think
in the
that's
beginning of the
pretty
year,
obvious.
in the beginning of the year, I don't think he would have been taking Ayuk over.
I drafted Brandon Ayuk last year over Deebo Samuel. I was a big Ayuk guy.
That's
you were
one
a
of those
huge
takes that I
Debo
wouldn't
guy.
have taken.
I know, but the injury concern, that's why I didn't draft him in fantasy.
When he had his breakout year, saying last season.
Yeah, I should have drafted him. Yeah. I'm going to go no with Ayuk. DeAndre Hopkins, he had 713.
Bro, hold on. To miss 6 games and have this yardage.
Nuts.
I thought he was washed.
Who said wash?
You told me that he... Yes.
Nah, he's a dog. He's a dog.
Is he getting 1,000, though? 300 yards, 3 games.
The camera will not see that face you just made.
Nah, DeAndre is definitely still him.
Yo. People are
I'm
saying,
gonna go with
that-
yes.
people are
I'm
saying
going
that
with
he's-
yes.
well, he wasn't down. It was a different game that he was playing. He was a red zone guy. He was the touchdown guy.
Why is that?
Because he's DeAndre Hopkins.
But you don't use him for the red zone. You use him fucking every play. He's DeAndre Hopkins.
But you can't stop him in the end zone.
You can't stop him ever.
You can't.
That should be the game
You
plan.
can. I'm not going to say it wrong.
Without Kyler though,
No, it's not happening.
that's gonna be really tough.
It's not happening.
I don't think so either.
With respect,
Without
DeAndre.
Kyler, but last 2 games, 60 yards and 79 yards.
So he needs 100 yards back to back to back.
I think he'll get it. Okay. it. I got
DeAndre.
faith in
I mean,
DeAndre
it's
Hopkins.
not crazy.
Yeah.
Zay Jones, he's at 764.
He's been on a crazy tear.
What are the last 3 games?
He's got the Jets this week.
Yes, I know
That
that,
makes-
for
that
sure.
makes me think
it's-
no.
Yeah.
Because now unless you have a huge game against Jets, which no receiver really has.
I'm going to go no as well. And last one, Jerry Jeudy, 663.
No, that's way too much.
63. God damn. Bro needs to put up like 130 a game.
Oh, man.
He's been cooking since he's been the wide receiver 1, thankfully.
Yep, for
Now
sure.
I have a coach of the year kind of bracket.
Okay.
There's a lot of candidates.
There is.
So, coach of the year candidate bracket. Brian Dable versus Mike McDaniel.
Oh, that's a good one.
I'd go with Brian Dable just because of the Giants exceeding expectations.
I think I'm 100% with Joel here. Mike McDaniel, there was expectations with this team. Tyreek's on the squad. Waller's on the squad. We're expecting a Tua increase. I think that what Dable has done was no one had ever thought that they would be in this position outside of Andrew Velez.
So, you had them in the playoffs this year?
I had them with 7 wins at minimum. So
you have them in the playoffs?
No.
Okay, cool. So Andrew Velez didn't see this coming.
No, playoffs is a credit to what Dable has done. Yeah. So 100%, I think that I would take him.
I agree. Mike McDaniel has turned into a top 3 offensive coach in the league right now. But what Brian Dable has done to this roster, which has just been decimated. First of all, it was not a talented roster coming into the year. And I feel like they've lost half their starters.
Worse.
And they're a worse roster now than they were at week 1. And they still won a must-win game against Washington. So
on the road.
Dable, yeah.
Next one, Dan Campbell versus Pete Carroll.
Dan Campbell. Pete Carroll, absolute.
Yeah.
I don't want to sound like a hater because I understand
the Seahawks have come
don't
down.
love me.
The Seahawks have come down the last few weeks.
Credit to Pete Carroll, especially you go from Russell Wilson to Geno Smith and you have similar production. That's a credit to Geno and Pete for sure. But Dan Campbell, what he's brought out of these guys, again, there was not that much expectation on the Lions. And the Lions now are in a strong position to be a playoff team.
I think there was more expectations for the Lions than the Seahawks. People saw the end of last year. They were a competitive team. So I think I would side with Pete Carroll. The Seahawks team has definitely slowed down over these last few weeks. They were running away with the division, it seemed like, at one point. And they've come back down to
starting to realize that they're frauds.
To an extent, yes. But right now, what he's done with Geno Smith, revitalizing his career, all of the draft picks, I know it doesn't go into it, but all the draft picks they hit on, I mean, just seems like first, second, third, fourth, fifth round, they've gotten starters in every round. I would be going with Pete Carroll.
Oh, yeah.
Because the Lions probably make the playoffs and the Seahawks probably drop out, I'm going with Dan Campbell on this one. Kyle Shanahan versus his former defensive coordinator, Robert Saleh.
I would go with Saleh here. I mean, Shanahan's
had 3 different starting quarterbacks.
He has
winning division. I'm going with Shanahan.
Yeah, that's really what it is. With respect to Saleh,
we're losing down the stretch. We might not make the playoffs.
That's true.
To go from the 32nd defense, this is where I figure you were going. I apologize for cutting you off, but to go from the 32nd defense to being a top 5 defense in the league. That is a credit to what Robert Saleh. And that was really what our biggest question was. You can't be a defensive guy and be the worst defense in the league. He's done a complete 180. He's brought the best out of these boys on top of the talent, being legit as well. And he's become one of the best defensive coaches in the league. So it's an absolute credit to what he's done. But Shanahan, to go from Lance to Jimmy G to now Brock Purdy and be a lock right now at this point to win your division is insane.
Now Shanahan, we know he's one of the best coaches in the league. Robert Saleh, I mean, I was questioning him week 3, 4 this season when our defense was struggling. I said you can't be a defensive-minded head coach and have a terrible defense 2 years in a row. That's what's going to get you fired in the NFL.
Real quick, you said that Mike McDaniel is a top 3 offensive-minded head coach in the league. Andy Reid, Shanahan, McDaniel?
McVay's probably in there too. Maybe top 4.
Okay.
I'm going with Shanahan on this one. So it's a bad playoff matchup, bro.
It is. It's unfortunate.
Last playoff matchup.
I respected you taking your guy.
Before the next round.
I have a spine.
Someone had to.
Kevin O'Connell versus Nick Sirianni.
Nick Sirianni. You're
13-1. Jalen Hurts takes an
best team in the NFL.
MVP before injury.
Is Nick Sirianni in that conversation for you?
For what?
Offensive mind?
Yeah, for sure. I would take those 4 guys over him.
Now, this is the second to last round. Brian Dable versus Dan Campbell.
I had more expectations for the Lions than I had the Giants.
I would agree with that. I would be going with Brian Dable right now, but both look like really promising head coaches.
This is very tough because Dan Campbell started 1-6, now they're 6-1. I mean, they've made a complete 360.
Dable isn't, but Dan Campbell just exudes football.
But I think I'd go with Brian Dable here too. And then Shanahan versus Sirianni.
Gotta go with Sirianni.
It's still Sirianni. 13-1's 13-1.
And then the last round, Dable versus Sirianni.
Nick Sirianni.
I think it's Sirianni.
So Nick Sirianni is the coach of the year then?
Yeah. Right now, he's my coach of the year.
I don't see how anyone else wins the award. Dable deserves a ridiculous amount of votes.
A ton of flowers.
But it's got to be the Eagles. It's got to be Sirianni.
Shout out to Kill Moves. Yo, I love y'all pods. Great and hilarious debates. Just want to know what y'all get into outside of sports like TV, collectibles, etc.
So, yeah, I mean, I've been watching a lot of Succession recently. I feel like I try to get myself involved with whatever is the most pop culture sound show there is, because I want to watch the best of the best. So I've seen Breaking Bad. I love watching all those shows, Sopranos. I haven't watched The Wire. I know everyone tells me to watch that.
I've tried watching that show twice, bro, and can't get into it.
Yeah, it's a shame, bro. It's a great show.
I've heard it's one of the best, and I'm mad at myself for not liking it.
Say that one more time. Breaking Bad?
No, The Wire.
Oh, yeah, for sure. Yeah. And I need to watch Better Call Saul. That's another one I have to watch. But I'm in the midst of watching Succession. I'm on season 3. This show is unbelievable.
That was another one. I watched the first season. I liked it, but I never fell in love with it.
I'm also watching Demon Slayer season 3. Which
I just started Yellowstone. First 2 episodes were really good.
You told me you were watching White Lotus also, right?
I did. Me and Chelsea were supposed to watch the finale. She might have watched it without me.
That's fake.
It is. I told her that the shows your true colors, and I will be remembering.
No, absolutely. Absolutely, for sure.
But to be fair, we've also been putting off this last episode for probably like 2 weeks. So
Fair enough. Fair enough.
I like Game of Thrones. I like anime.
Game of Thrones, absolutely.
Yeah. I like wrestling, too. I like, whenever I could watch wrestling, I watch wrestling.
I was going to say, he said sports, like... I mean, obviously, I play
takes
sports.
up a lot of time. Yeah,
I watch sports.
Yeah, sports
like
does
90.
take,
I work for a sports company.
Like
yeah.
That's one thing. It finally irked me. The picture that you guys posted for my birthday, I really do appreciate that. Someone commented, "These are the guys that talk sports." That guy couldn't see me. He's like, apparently we don't look athletic.
Oh,
he could not see me. Name a sport he couldn't see me.
Or maybe he just thinks that we're just like regular guys talking about sports.
No, he responded. No, he responded and
what did he say?
That you guys just does not look like you guys are athletic at all.
Oh,
again, you could not see me. You could pick the sport. You cannot see me.
Does Andy Reid look like he's athletic? He's a pretty good football mind.
I don't know, man.
He's also like 7.
There's definitely people that are more, or right now further ahead in their careers in our field, and they look less athletic than us.
Sure,
so,
we're in our prime. We're in our 20s.
It was such a
played
comment
5
I did
games
not
of
appreciate.
full court pickup basketball yesterday,
especially on a birthday post. Like, it just screamed hater.
He is.
I was like, come on.
Without a doubt, he's a hater.
Just drop the HBD and keep it pushing.
It's funny how whenever we post a post like that where all of us are standing up, people are super surprised about like how short I am.
That shit pisses me off too.
Somebody was
enough.
like, somebody said a funny ass joke. He was like, I didn't know Joel was standing up during the podcast.
Yo, that shit, I had to really hold it back.
That shit was
too funny. And then someone commented under and said, yo, this is low-key one of the funniest comments I've ever seen. I was just like...
I didn't know he was standing up during the episode. Yeah. This is from Zaka, I think. Maybe I'm reading that right. Where would you rank Ben Johnson, Lions OC, in terms of play callers in the NFL? I don't know if I have like a number ranking for Ben Johnson, but I think Ben Johnson is going to be a head coaching candidate sooner rather than later. And he's a great offensive play caller. Like, I can't say enough about the guy. He's a great offensive play caller.
He's been great all season long. Absolutely.
Yeah. He's been amazing.
I'm just looking at his career. He started at Boston College. He was with Miami for a few years, wide receiver, tight end coach. Went over to Detroit, was the offensive quality control coach, tight end coach, and then this is his first year being the offensive coordinator. And what he's done to this offense, with like they had weapons, right? Amon-Ra broke out this year, DeAndre Swift, Jamal, but I don't think anyone saw a top 5 level offense, which is what they've really been doing this entire season. So I'm not sure if he's going to get looks this season or this offseason, just being 1 year as an offense coordinator and play caller. But down the road, you could definitely see him be involved in the mix.
On to the next topic. Colts-Vikings. Minnesota had a historic comeback. They came back 33 down. It was 33-0 at one point in the game, and they ended up beating the Colts 39-36. Biggest comeback in NFL history. Teams were 0-132 in the Super Bowl era before the Vikings got this comeback. I know what you guys are going to say, but the bottom line is that the Vikings are now 11-3. And the growing narrative out there is that after 15 weeks, we still don't know if the Vikings are a good team or not. There's some truth to that. But what I will say is that Kirk Cousins explained it perfectly. One sentence. Average people don't do what we just did. It takes a special group of players to do what we just did, what we just pulled off. KJ Osborne,
He's saying the
10
Vikings.
receptions, 157 yards, a touchdown. Jettas, 12 receptions, 123 yards, a touchdown. No quarterback has more passing yards in the fourth quarter than Captain Kirk Cousins. He has 1,181 yards in the fourth quarter alone. 10 touchdowns in the fourth behind Burrow and Tom Brady. And he's sixth in EPA per drop back in the fourth quarter. Kirk Cousins has been pressured the second most of any quarterback this year. Number one is Justin Herbert.
Can you stop?
Do they have moments of inconsistency?
Come on, dude.
Yes.
Come on.
Does their defense give up a lot of yards? Yes. But we saw in that second half when that defense decided that it's go time. Patrick Peterson told Kirk Cousins, you got to get 5 touchdowns. We'll do our job. They have the potential to lock up. And that's what I get annoyed about with the Vikings. Because they can do it. But for some reason, they don't. Now, the Vikings, people may look at them like they're pretenders. But what they've done, Kirk Cousins, 7 fourth quarter comebacks this year, 7 game-winning drives this year. He's clutch. People want to talk about his unclutchness. He's clutch. He had a clutch drive in primetime. You forgot about Thanksgiving? He's clutch. Let's not talk about Kirk Cousins like he's not clutch. Kirk Cousins is clutch. And Kirk Cousins, 7 game-winning drives, 7 fourth quarter comebacks. He's special.
Beat the Bills.
The Vikings, maybe it's luck. Or maybe this team just finds a way to look deep inside their souls and come back from these games. And that's what I think it is. That's a skill. And in the playoffs, you need that skill more than anything. It would not surprise me at all if the Vikings make a run because Kirk Cousins, he's clutch.
Bro,
and the
please,
Vikings
enough. Please stop.
got some great offensive weapons. And if their defense can hold up, this team's dangerous. Their offensive line does worry me, but this team's special. This comeback was special. It was special.
Yo.
It was special. For Indianapolis, it was embarrassing.
Oh, my God.
But for the Vikings,
Why don't we talk about that?
it was special.
Why don't we talk about that?
The
Why don't we talk about how
Colts?
Indianapolis
That's
Colts
the
are one of
more
the biggest
interesting-
embarrassments
That's
in
the more,
sports?
I think that is a more interesting topic here than the Vikings. The Colts.
For sure. Listen, credit.
Don't be
to-
disrespectful.
No,
Dehls.
absolutely
Don't
credit.
be
We
disrespectful.
know the Vikings are good.
Dude, credit where credit is due. The
Good?
Vikings. Can I speak?
Not a great
Come on,
team?
you just want to hold clutch, fucking tangent. Can I please? Damn it. Credit where credit is due. What the Vikings did was historic. The largest comeback in NFL history. It's amazing. Kirk threw for over 400 yards, 460. Unbelievable.
Dumb.
Unbelievable. To be down 33-0 and to still win that game makes no sense. Oh, but it does make sense because the Indianapolis Colts are atrocious and one of the laughingstocks of the NFL. Matt Ryan was up 33-0
Don't blame him.
and lost this game.
Don't blame him.
This is just so Matt Ryan to lose a game like this. To only put up 3 points in the second half. Because, again, he had opportunity after opportunity after opportunity to put points on the board. And he simply could not. And that's not just on him, of course. He could have stepped up to the plate. You lose Jonathan Taylor super early in the game, but that's not where I'm looking at because they went up 33-0 without him. What you can look at is the defense collapsing, for sure. They clamped up. Stephon Gilmore was on Jettis' body the whole first half. Second half, it was a different story. Jettis is Jettis. He's going to get his inevitably. It's the truth. Then KJ Osborne starts to cook up. Then Dalvin catches a screen and goes 67 yards to the crib. This is all on Indianapolis. Again, credit to Minnesota because they seized the moment and they won the game. That is all credit to them. But a comeback like this can't happen without one of the most historic collapses we've ever seen. And it speaks to the Indianapolis Colts season in 2022.
Real quick, before I'm sure you have a response. I can't take credit for this. I saw in the chat, so I had to confirm. How many offensive touchdowns do you think the Colts scored?
Yeah, I know the answer.
They put up 33 points.
Do you know?
One.
They scored one offensive touchdown.
Bro, they're terrible. and Kirk even tried to get in the game again.
He did.
He threw a pick in the second half. Clutch. He's super clutch.
Jalen Reagor stopped on the route.
Yeah,
Both the
no,
Kirk's
facts.
interceptions were
He
on
definitely
Jalen
did.
Reagor.
He definitely did.
Both were crazy. Stop it. The pick six. I'm not
That
here
was
for
on
that.
Rager.
I'm not hearing
That was
that.
on Rager,
The
bro.
second one, no. The second one I'm hearing. No,
They were both on Rager.
I'm not gonna lie.
I don't know, man. The first one was crazy. The second one, absolutely, I give it to you. But the second one, he still threw an interception. He tried to give the game to the Colts. It was a 2-score game, and we sat here live on the show and said, the Vikings are winning this game.
That was nuts.
We sat here down 2 scores and said, it's over.
Yeah.
Vikings won.
Anything to say about your Colts?
Listen, these two teams were teams that I had agendas for in the season.
Only one could win, right?
The Vikings, they
It's a tie.
proved me right. I look like a genius with Minnesota right now.
What do you mean? This is impressive only for the fact that it's the largest comeback in NFL history.
They're 11-3.
Shout out. They're the most fraudulent 11-3 team I've ever
They're
seen in my life.
11
We know
and
that.
three.
We know
The most fraudulent
We know.
11-3
Do
team
you
I've
know?
ever seen in my life.
They're
you
the
know?
most
No,
average 11-3 team of all time.
know that
I'm not even gonna
for
lie
a
to you.
thing.
All right. Keep that same
All right,
energy.
no.
I
Would you
will.
be surprised if they lost in round 1?
Yes.
You're lying to yourself.
Because the Vikings are good, bro.
I can
Detroit
see
can't
looking
beat
into my
them?
eyes and I see
Vikings will win that
the
game.
fallacy.
The Vikings will win that
How
game.
confident are you?
I am 100% confident. Kirk Cousins
100%.
wins that game.
You're
All right,
drunk.
you know what?
You're drunk.
Let's do something real quick
Yes.
live right now. If they meet up round 1, you have Minnesota?
Yes.
I'll take the Lions. If they meet up, let's show some cash on it. How much?
Name the price.
Name the price.
Name it.
You know, I'll do you a favor here because my Jags bet's going to hit. My Dolphins bet, I should say. Excuse me. You're
Double or
D-Lo
nothing.
Bay ain't hit.
Hey, you cashed out. That's on you.
beat.
That's
So
on
beat.
you.
We got to put cash out
Listen,
next to that.
double or nothing. Double or nothing.
For what?
If the Lions meet the Vikings and you take the Vikings, I take the Lions, double or nothing because I'm probably going to win this Dolphins bet.
Let's do the double or nothing. for
Double
sure.
or nothing.
Let's do it for
You know what that means.
I know. It's double
Double
or
or
nothing.
All right, I'm just saying. All right.
Pretty self-explanatory.
I'm a witness.
Now, listen, I look like a genius with the Vikings. They've done.
Jesus Christ.
He repeats the
He's
statement.
nuts. He's
They've
nuts.
What do you
been,
mean? Because you
They're
said
11-3.
You can't trust him, Kirk. You know who Kirk is in prime time.
I never said that. Wait, on the show? Wait, I said.
I'm almost positive.
No, for sure. There are moments where you can't trust Kirk Cousins. In primetime, he has a track record. But on Thursday nights, he has been, I think it's Monday nights, he has
Saturday.
been great in primetime. And a lot of that lacks context. Now, listen, Kirk Cousins is not an elite tier quarterback, but this guy, he's been clutch this year.
He's been very big time.
To the Kirk's credit, or I guess to his good
More clutch
luck,
than Dak Prescott.
we know the first round of the playoffs, they play Saturday and Sundays. So Kirk could very easily get a Saturday game. We see how historic he can be. Maybe they get past that one. But if it's a Sunday 8:00 game,
Listen,
that's
man.
nervous.
Listen,
I'll put
very
my
nervous.
crib on it.
Yeah,
I'm taking whoever
that might be
they're
the
going
mortgage on the
against.
line.
Listen, man. If y'all want to do that to yourselves, do it. You know what I'm saying? I'm rocking with Skull.
The Colts have so quickly turned into a dumpster fire.
But,
It's
terrible.
It
The
starts with
Colts-
Jim Irsay. Jim Irsay. It starts
Would you
with
rather
the
be
owner.
Houston or would you rather be the Colts?
Houston. It starts with the top. Jim Irsay.
Nah,
The Colts are just a microcosm of Jim Irsay's horrible ownership.
I hate him.
This was embarrassing. It's
You've been on it.
There's nothing
Decade.
else to say about this. Going back to 1930, teams were 1,548 1-1 when leading by 30 or more. The Colts just made that 1,548 2-1.
Yeah.
They have lost 4 in a row with Jeff Saturday. And I mean, this is what I hate, man. This is what I really it grinds my gears about. I'm baffled by this. Matt Ryan does not deserve this, man. The way Matt Ryan is going out is sad.
You need to stop.
He does not deserve
You need to
this.
stop, bro.
He now has
This is on him. This is partly on Matt Ryan.
the biggest collapse in Super Bowl and regular season history.
This is your
Matt
GOAT.
Ryan has.
This is your
But
GOAT.
In the Super Bowl,
put me
but
a,
listen,
bro, put a
hold
picture
up.
on Twitter.
Listen, hold up,
2016
hold up,
MVP
hold
Matt
up,
Ryan
hold up,
to
hold
my
up,
Jalen
hold
Hurts
up,
take.
Hold up. When he won MVP in 2016, when he was in the Super Bowl,
6 years
his
ago.
defense let up touchdown after touchdown after touchdown. A lot of lucky stuff had to go Matt Ryan's way. Matt Ryan put them in a position to win the game, got them in field goal range, but the refs called a BS call that knocked them out of it. That was horrible. Then in this game, we talking about they're in field goal range. McLaughlin was perfect on his field goals. And Jeff Saturday says, you know what, let's QB sneak on 4th and 1. What about Zach Moss fumbling and then running out of bounds? Matt Ryan is not responsible for these collapses, but yet his name will be attached to it. This guy's a great quarterback. And the fact that his reputation is going to be ruined off of guys failing to do their jobs sickens me. Matt Ryan, despite the blown leads, is still Matty Ice. This guy's top 5 in fourth quarter comebacks, top 5 in game-winning drops. Let's stop acting like he's not clutch. It's just the team around him. It's just not good. And first-time offensive coordinator, come on, man. Parks Frazier, Jeff Saturday, first-time head coach. He doesn't know what he's doing. This is sickening. And this is not how Matt Ryan's career should have ended off. It's not. It's not.
Matt Ryan completed 59% of his passes for 180 yards. Against the worst passing defense in the league.
Parks Frazier's the OC, bro. What am I going to tell you?
Bro, cough up the L. Keep it pushing. Matt Ryan this season, a big fat L. It's fine. You got some W's. You get some L's. It happens to everybody.
Wow.
What I don't like from you is that you lack respect for Matt Ryan.
What? Is anything I say ever about 2016 Matt Ryan or is it 22 Matt Ryan?
Can you admit Matt Ryan's a great quarterback?
Yes, in his prime, he was great.
No, overall, his career, he's great.
Is he great right now? Fuck no.
Overall, when we look at his career,
year? No.
When we look at his career in entirety, what do we say? It's great.
Yeah.
It's great.
Yeah, borderline.
What do you mean?
Great.
Yeah, that's
great.
Joel, come on.
If you're great, are you a lock Hall of Famer?
No.
Phillip Rivers is not a lock Hall of Famer.
Would you call his career great?
Phillip Rivers?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yes.
Semantics. I'm not going to get into it.
He didn't win, but his career was great.
But the thing was, the entire offseason, and really this entire season, you say I'm disrespectful to Matt Ryan, but our biggest issue this whole season has been I have constantly talked about 2022 Matt Ryan and his limitations, and you just bring up 2016 Matt Ryan with Kyle Shanahan say X, Y, and Z happened 6 years ago, so he's great. 2018. Okay, it's 2022.
He wasn't put in a position to succeed, man. You think
if
he's not in San Fran, he's not going crazy?
You had a Colts agenda. You thought he was in position to succeed.
The Colts were not what I thought they were.
Yeah, well,
Matt Ryan,
telling you that.
I think in a good situation, he still could play well.
Well, you thought this was a good situation, and you're wrong.
It turned out to not
but it's not just because of the situation. Matt Ryan also has not been that good this year.
He has not elevated the situation for sure.
Yeah, we could go beyond that. He was leading the league in turnovers and sacks before he got
But I'm saying
benched.
that
he got benched for Sam Ellinger.
I've always said
you forgot about that?
This year, that's because the owner wants to do some bullshit. Don't do that. Don't do that, Dehls.
Taking that dub.
Don't do that, Dehls.
Easily
now listen. All I said was that Matt Ryan's a great system quarterback at this point in his career, and even if he's in a system that's great, he could thrive. But the Colts is not a great system.
Does he retire this year?
He has to retire.
I think he does too. He can't take 40 or 50 sacks.
Maybe he comes to the Jets.
Oh fuck no.
We need a proven quarterback.
I'd rather have Zach Wilson or Mike White.
Zach Wilson, baby.
Sure. Over Matt Ryan, sure.
Over Mike White.
I don't fucking know, dude. I don't know.
This guy. Look at him.
I don't know what's going to happen. Well, hope for the best, you know?
I'm praying for you guys. Praying for you guys.
Maybe we'll drive.
I want the Jets to do well. I'm not a Jets hater. I'm not. Only after you called me stupid when I said that there's a chance to go on 5. It wasn't.
We lost to the Bills.
I'm dumbfounded.
Really
how stupid you guys are.
I'm flabbergasted.
I brought out some great vocabulary.
All right.
And how stupid you guys are sometimes.
I'm literally sitting there. I'm just like,
that's such a great
I'm going to
clip.
let this play out.
It's such a great clip.
Nah, and the fact that they might go on 5 is crazy.
Yeah, they're not going on 5. Not my Jets.
Put that on my tombstone.
Not
if they
my
go on
Jets.
5.
That's the Jets shit to do.
Literally.
That's what they do.
Not the 2022 Robert Saleh. Not the Zach Wilson Jets. What are we talking about?
Nah. Mike White started. And you
gave up on him too. Stop it. Stop. I'm not allowing this. I'm not allowing this.
He came in here after the Minnesota game and was like, I've seen Mike White do things that Zach Wilson could never do.
I stand by
You
that.
was hyping that game up like this was, what are we talking about?
You know what? I'm kind of chatting. I said that Zach Wilson's performance this week was the second best. Mike White against Minnesota might be number 2.
It's in the conversation.
Yeah.
I thought what Zach did and what Mike White did are similar.
Yeah, sure.
A couple weeks ago, the Cowboys blew out the Indianapolis Colts. Very
Like
bad. They
everyone
scored
does,
50 on them.
basically.
Now, the Cowboys have been facing these AFC South teams the last 3 weeks. They beat the Colts, and that game was close, really, until the defense just took over on their defensive touchdowns. The Texans game was close, but Dak had a game-winning drive at the end. But then they faced the Jaguars. They were up 17 points. They were up 27-10 at one point. And the Jaguars ended up winning 40-34 in overtime. This kept the Jags' playoff hopes alive. The chances for the Cowboys to maybe win the division are all but gone. And this is back-to-back weeks where the Cowboys have struggled. And what are your thoughts on this? Because I come, especially from you, Drew, I come here, all you do is sing praises for Dak. This game was not Dak's fault. I won't say it's Dak's fault.
Right, thank you. All right, so
what
are we doing here?
And I will say this. The Cowboys, the version I saw of them earlier in the season with Cooper Rush, the team, when Dak comes back, this team is special. They could make a run.
Mm-hmm.
How they've looked recently, the same way you talk about Minnesota, you want to bracket Minnesota into pretenders. As of recently, the Cowboys have been pretenders for sure.
Think so?
They've been pretenders for sure.
Now, let me ask you. You said this week wasn't on Dak. Are they pretenders this week, after this week for sure, because of Dak Prescott? Or now, do you feel that they're pretenders now because the defense might not be who you thought they were? Answer that very strong.
They're pretenders
one way.
For a lot of different reasons.
I need the straight-up answer. Are they pretenders after this week? Like you firmly are saying now they're pretenders because of Dak? Or are you saying that after you just saw their defense get lit up?
I have a list of concerns.
A list? That seems pretty nuts.
I'll go first since you allowed me that luxury, and it seems like you have a laundry list of things to say, so I'll make it really quick. Dak Prescott was really good this weekend against Jacksonville. He was really good. His team should have never been put in this position to lose this game. The play that he ultimately ended up losing the game on, ironically, was a perfect pass that was dropped by Noah Brown and right into the defender's hand, returned for a touchdown. Dak Prescott in the first half played nearly perfect football. To be up 17 and to lose this game, yes, listen, I give a lot of discreditedness to Minnesota's comeback because there should have been an opportunity for the Colts to score points. Dallas could have scored points also. They have too good of a rush offense to not really milk the clock as well as they could have. Dak Prescott was cooking way too much to not push the ball downfield consistently the way that he was in that first half. Absolutely, I can give blame where blame is due. They had opportunity to do so, and they didn't. But this defense was horrible. To give up over 500 total yards of offense. Listen, Jaguars aren't slouches offensively. Trevor Lawrence is a special player. Travis Etienne has had his moments this year. This was one of his better games this season as well. Zay Jones has been playing well. Mostly, let's highlight Trevor Lawrence. This defense where even Micah left his impact, led the league in total pressures this week. Micah was Micah this week, and it still did not matter. They were getting thrown all over. They were getting ran all over. This defense let the offense down. It's that simple. Am I looking at this game and overanalyzing it? No, because what happens with Dallas and what I've seen is that they take their foot off the gas. They take their foot off the gas and they allow teams to come be in these games when they shouldn't be. The game against Houston, I firmly believe they went into that week thinking we don't have to prepare this week. We're going to do us. We're going to win this game, and it was closer than it should have been. And ironically, Dak was Dak and drove the entire length of the field to win the game for them. They absolutely put the exclamation point against the Colts. It was a dominating performance. This week, they were up 17. I think they shipped it. We got this game won easily. And they got caught with their pants down and they lost the game. I'm not overanalyzing this one. I said that when they lost, when they had that scare against the Texans, when they lost to the Packers. I'm relaxing when it comes to the Cowboys. Regular season, we've said this constantly when it comes to the Cowboys. We don't look at the Cowboys and examine them in the regular season because they are always solid in the regular season. Where the test truly comes is in the playoffs. That's where we can start to have the conversation. But I still believe in this team, that it can still be an NFC Championship team. I still believe in this offense. They've shown it does not matter. You have CeeDee Lamb. He's gonna be him. And that's one of my L's this year. I didn't think CeeDee Lamb could do it. CeeDee Lamb's been spectacular. You still have Tony Pollard and Ezekiel Elliott. Ezekiel Elliott, who's been quietly one of the better running backs in the league this year, especially when it comes into the red zone. He is a touchdown machine. And Tony Pollard, both rushing and receiving, he's a dog. And let's also include Dalton Schultz. He's Dalton Schultz. You have to account for him. This offense is going to be fine. This defense is going to be fine. I'm not going to look at this game and overanalyze it too much thinking about the Cowboys long term. This is a loss that hurts, but it's one that the Cowboys, I can sit here and say they're a team that needs to continue to put pedal to the metal and not cruise. They've been cruising because they're trying to stay healthy for the playoffs. Because you're going to allow people to sit and think that you're pretenders when you're not.
I understand that argument if we're talking about the Chiefs. We're talking about teams that have proven things. The Bengals, even they went on a Super Bowl run. I'm not doing that for the Cowboys. The Cowboys don't do anything in the playoffs. They choke in the playoffs.
What NFC team can you really look at and feel confident in other than the Eagles?
So I have to look at these games in regular season.
Feel confident in them with Brock Purdy? That's all. That's it.
More than the Niners, yes, I am.
More than the Cowboys, you mean?
Right, yeah, more than the Cowboys. Right now, the NFC is the Eagles and the Niners. Everybody else is everybody else.
Now this.
And the Vikings are right there in the middle like, we're going to surprise y'all.
Detroit
They're
too,
right there. I like Detroit too. Oh, I do like Detroit.
What about Minnesota?
For sure. I
Like,
said
there you go. Come on,
I just said Minnesota's like that. Didn't I just say Minnesota? I said
You
Minnesota.
said you're taking over Detroit.
Now listen, Dak Prescott in the first half was perfect. 15 for 16, 137 yards, 2 touchdowns. What happened in the second half is that the Jaguars' offense came alive. It's as simple as that. Mm-hmm. And it came alive because they hunted Kelvin Joseph. That's who they taught. Anthony Brown has been such a huge loss for Dallas this year, and hopefully he comes back soon because Kelvin Joseph, second-year player, he has all the physical attributes to be a really good player, but right now he's not that. He's lost. And they pick him apart. The Zay Jones double move touchdown, it was a double move on Kelvin Joseph.
Caught his ass.
They caught him bad. That made it 27-17. Dak then throws an interception. He was kind of hit on the arm on the interception. It was, it came out wobbly, the throw, and Rayshon Jenkins intercepted it. Jamal Agnew then goes for a 30-yard run. Touchdown to Zay Jones. Little move on Kelvin Joseph again. They targeted him again. Made it 27-24. Cowboys get a 3-and-out. And Etienne has a nice run. Trevor hits Christian Kirk on a wheel route, a route they ran earlier in the game. It worked earlier.
Perfect.
Yeah, it was great all around. Then throws a touchdown to Zay Jones, makes it his third touchdown. It's 31-27. The Cowboys answer back. But moments that cost the Cowboys the game was just that Trevor fumbles the ball, and they're down 34-31. The Jags are. The Jags force a Cowboys 3-and-out. And on third down, the Cowboys didn't run the ball, so it didn't force the Jaguars to take a timeout.
Yep. And
the play they ran on third down, it's one of the dumbest calls I've seen all year. It's as simple as that. They ran verts. 3 players, Gallup, Noah Brown, and CeeDee Lamb, all verts on 3rd and 10. You need 10 yards, yet you're trying to go for a long, deep pass. It made no sense. Absolutely no sense. Dak throws it to, I think it is CeeDee Lamb or Noah Brown, and it's an uncatchable ball nonetheless. And that's what happened. Then the Jaguars got the ball back. They go down, get a field goal, and then the pick 6 in overtime that Dak threw, which wasn't his fault. Noah Brown just didn't catch the ball, and Rayshon Jenkins took that to the house. Rayshon Jenkins in his game, touchdown, 2 interceptions, 18 tackles. He's one of the more underrated safeties in the league right now. The Cowboys concern me because Mike McCarthy's clock management is not good. It never has been good. Situationally, I can't trust Kellen Moore like that. I mean, that play on third down was probably one of the dumbest plays I've seen. This is the same offensive coordinator that I saw in the playoffs run 2 plays for 2 offensive linemen running curls. I just really don't know, man. It just, their pass rush isn't as dominant as it was. Their run defense, it's ranks 24th in the NFL. And losing Leighton Vander Esch, he's injured right now. It hurts. And Kelvin Joseph is a liability. Trayvon Diggs on one opposite side is good. But then on the other side, you have Kelvin Joseph, and teams are going to pick him apart all day long. And then the wide receivers create little to no separation. Michael Gallup has clearly lost a step.
Yes.
CeeDee Lamb is good. Noah Brown's all right. Not having Amari Cooper and not having two receivers who can threaten defenses is hurting this team. And if they face a team like San Fran that has these rangy linebackers and great cornerback play, great disciplined defense, they're going to struggle. Same thing if they face Philadelphia. They're going to struggle. I think Philadelphia is going to beat them Saturday with Gardner Minshew because I think Philadelphia is just a better football team. The Cowboys have a lot of concerns, and I didn't even get to Dak Prescott. Dak Prescott, when I'm critical of him, people think I'm hating on Dak. Dak Prescott is, if he has a great situation, he can win. Like if he was with the Rams last year, I think they probably still win.
Has he had a great situation this year?
No, not the best.
And he's winning.
Yeah, but I'm talking about like making I'm talking about making a run
this year.
It hasn't been. It's been a good situation.
Defense has been phenomenal.
No, I'm talking offense.
I mean, I would say if you're
saying defense has been carrying a lot.
Wait, hold up, Dehls. I'll take that back. It is a great situation. If a back quarterback can come in and have a winning record, it's a great situation. It's a great situation.
Pollard has been phenomenal. CD's had a breakout year.
So Dak Prescott, the situation he's in, he will not elevate it. He will make it look how it looks. Great, right? But he won't make great look exceptional. That's my kind of point with Dak.
So would you have Dak in the Tua tier?
No, he's above that because he has more talent than Tua. Because I think he's better than Jared Goff too. Dak is like the Derek Carr tier. You feel me? Like the Derek Carr Cousins tier.
Aren't all those guys kind of in the same tier?
No, I think Kirk Carr Cousins are.
You have to throw Tua in that.
Kirk Carr and Dak I think are above like the Jared Goff tier. I do.
Why aren't you including Tua?
It's a small gap. If there's any gap at all, it's small.
No, I think it's a big gap.
It's not.
Well, with Dak, I think it is. I think Dak is better than those guys. Yeah, I do.
I would take him, but I don't think there's a
I just don't see Dak really elevating situations, and I haven't really seen that much in his career. But if he's in a great situation, he can win for sure. You can win with Dak Prescott. But in the playoffs, he's 1-3. This team has a lot of holes, and you can't expect to win with Dak playing superhero. That's my thing.
The 1-3 record, it doesn't really sit right with me always, because that rookie season, man, if they get past Green Bay, they could go win the whole thing. But it was Aaron Rodgers being Aaron Rodgers. It's a loss.
It is.
He left the field winning.
For sure.
He left the field winning.
Fortunately, that's not a stat would count.
I'm just saying that 1-3 record, people
misleading.
use it.
It's misleading. I understand what
you're
saying.
It lacks context.
And we're all about
1-3
context
record?
here.
It lacks context.
We're all about
okay.
context.
So the lack of context is that instead of
Should be
1-3, they
context
should
aside.
be maybe 2-2.
And who knows what happens? Who knows what happens on
Dak's
that run?
best chance to win was
the rookie
2016.
year.
It was his best
rookie
chance.
year.
And you're asking a lot from rookie.
He played
quarterbacks.
great.
He did.
He was amazing
For
that
sure.
game.
Without a
I
doubt.
want to say.
You guys talked a lot about the Cowboys. I want to talk about the Jaguars more than the Cowboys since you guys
Trevor
covered
Lawrence
We
basically
spoke
everything.
about the Jags.
That's true.
Fields.
It's true. Yeah, I want to get a little more into it. But briefly, the Cowboys. I never really saw them as a Super Bowl caliber team. They're just kind of lucky because they're in a weak conference, so they could win a playoff game or two and maybe even make it to an NFC Championship game. But in terms of getting past the Eagles or the 49ers, if they're healthy, I would still be taking both those teams pretty comfortably. And it wouldn't surprise me if the Lions or Minnesota were able to upset Dallas, even if you want to call that an upset. Minnesota would probably be favored since they would be home. But to talk about the Jaguars, because the people at home don't know, there was two questions in this topic. One was, can we trust the Cowboys? The other one is Trevor Lawrence a top 10 quarterback? And we kind of touched on it a bit, but I want to go a bit more in depth. We talked about these week 9 stats, right? He's completing 70% of his passes, averaging 280 yards per game, which is a 4,700-yard pace, 14 touchdowns, 1 interception, 110 passer rating. But who he's doing it against is really what's flabbergasting, right? What really jumps off the screen. Week 9 was against the Raiders, a mid defense, but he completed 80% of his passes. That's something that nobody does. That happens a handful of times throughout the entire NFL season and all of the games. Week 10 against Kansas City. Week 11 against Baltimore. Week 12 against Detroit. Week 13 against Tennessee. Week 14 against Dallas. These are all playoff teams. These are all teams that you're going up against. You're going to have to score points to either have a good offense or a good defense to be able to keep up or stop you from scoring. And Trevor Lawrence has lived up to this hype, and he has exceeded these expectations over these past few years. And he's really doing it with Zay Jones being his de facto wide receiver 1 over the stretch, too. He's been statistically one of the best wide receivers in football over this stretch. The fact that he's doing this with Zay Jones, and as we discussed previously, the fact that he gets Calvin Ridley back next season, or I guess for the first time gets Calvin Ridley, and I'm sure they're going to be adding another weapon, whether that's in the draft or free agency, because Christian Kirk's a solid, number 2, number 3, high upside number 3 guy, and Zay Jones, for the most part, has just been kind of a depth wide receiver. I don't really see him as being a guy you want to be in there as your wide receiver 2, wide receiver 3 every single play, but he's a really good wide receiver 4 and a borderline wide receiver 3 type of guy. But I think right now, I was just thinking about quarterbacks who I would take him over. I have Mahomes, Allen, Lamar, Burrow, Herbert, 5. Is he in? Would you rather have Deshaun Watson or Trevor Lawrence?
Trevor Lawrence.
Oh my God.
Well, I agree with you. I mean, the only quarterbacks I'm taking over Trevor Lawrence are Mahomes, Burrow, Allen, Herbert, and Lamar Jackson.
Those are the 5 I have.
Yeah. So Trevor Lawrence, if I'm starting a franchise, he's the 6th quarterback I'm taking.
You're taking him over Deshaun. You're taking him over Hurts, Aaron Rodgers.
And listen, I think that segues perfectly into this.
It's so tough.
It's
tough because we know what Deshaun Watson is at 100.
That was the hardest name I had on here because I was like, I love Hurts. I still think that's a conversation.
Can I get that put on hold?
Sure.
Can I have that?
Okay.
Give me till next year.
You don't get that on hold because listen, right now we're doing a would you rather Trevor Lawrence.
Oh,
that's what we're doing.
Oh,
don't throw to Deshaun Watson. It's not fair to all right, let me not say that because yes, he missed time due to his own circumstance, but the whole thing is it's very tough to evaluate him right now when we saw what he was. He gave us one of the best quarterback seasons in the history of the game
and won 4 games.
But that had nothing to do with him.
I guess, but even then...
You're really going to minimize that season that he had on 70% completion?
But I can also...
No DeAndre Hopkins?
I can also acknowledge that season might have been an anomaly.
What?
Deshaun's really good.
No, Deshaun's a great quarterback.
Anomaly?
But the seasons before that, he got to the playoffs and blew a big-time 24-0 lead.
Mahomes, God forbid.
Anomaly.
He said he was number 1 at one point.
He was.
So
talent-wise, Mahomes was other. Excuse me. Yes, Mahomes is number 1.
So how do you blow a lead when you're that guy?
He did against Mahomes, bro.
You talk about Matt Ryan all the time. It was Brady, right? So what are you talking about?
That is, I give that credit to Brady. It was Brady.
So Deshaun Watson choked.
He did choke. Do I sit here and say anything other
no? Deshaun's still very young in his career too.
I'm saying he's a great quarterback, but Trevor Lawrence is a great quarterback too.
Who's saying otherwise?
And he's 6'6".
He is 6'. He's a big man.
How tall is Deshaun? 6'4"?
6'2".
No.
He's not 6'4".
Hell no, he's not 6'4".
He's
6'2",
I think
bro.
he's
all right.
6'2". Yeah.
I'm wrong. 6'2".
This is Would You Rather Trevor Lawrence edition. First name up, Dak Prescott.
Take Trevor Lawrence.
I would take Trev.
I'm going with Trevor Lawrence. Justin Fields.
I would also take Trev.
Yeah, we talked about it before. I'm still taking Trevor Lawrence.
I'm taking Trevor. Tua. Oh, this is easy. With my eyes closed, I'm taking Trevor.
I've been back and forth on this a lot. I'm going with Trevor Lawrence.
It's pretty easy for me. It's Trevor Lawrence.
Kyler Murray.
With Kyler's injury now, too, he's small. He's been banged up a couple of times. Doesn't have the best leadership quality.
Yeah,
Trevor Lawrence.
That's fair. I think that Trevor Lawrence ceiling's higher. I'm going with Trev.
I'm going with Trevor. Deshaun Watson.
It's tough.
It's very difficult to evaluate Deshaun versus Trevor at this point in time when Deshaun's missed a season and a half, and we saw what Deshaun Watson was prior to the suspension. You're putting me in an extremely difficult position.
Do you have an easy answer? Is this easy for you?
It's not easy, but I am going with Trevor Lawrence. I do know my answer. It's not that it's easy. I just know my answer.
I respect that.
It's hard.
I don't want to answer this.
It's really hard.
I really don't.
Ugh. I'm slightly leaning Deshaun.
Who has a better year, Deshaun or Trevor next year?
It depends. It depends. Honestly, it does.
On what, though?
Is Amari Cooper still his wide receiver 1?
Yes.
DPJ, Nick Chubb, offensive line, Stefanski.
I'm going with Deshaun.
It's super close, but I'll tell Deshaun too.
I feel like Trevor will have the better year next year. I do.
It'll be close.
I'm going with Sean as the who would I rather as well.
Okay, I'm going with Trevor. Kirk Cousins.
Trevor Lawrence.
Trevor Lawrence.
I'm going with Trevor Lawrence. Jalen Hurts.
Trevor Lawrence.
I'm going with Trevor Lawrence.
It's a tough one.
It's rude because Jalen
one.
Hurts has the potential to be the MVP in this league.
Yeah.
And I don't want it to be like it's not a question. It is. Jalen Hurts is amazing.
For sure.
The arm.
He doesn't have the arm talent Trevor Lawrence has.
It just separates it for me.
Yeah. Slightly into Trev.
So I think that does it. If I'm starting a franchise today, the only quarterbacks I'm taking over Trevor Lawrence, Mahomes, Burrow, Allen, Herbert, Jackson, and that's it.
I'm the same. Throw Deshaun
Lawrence
in there.
is 6 right there.
It's close.
He's
but
6.
I would have Deshaun in there too. Him and Hurts are close. The arm talent Trevor has is just insane.
I would also appreciate if you could ask like
Size.
the Lamars, the Herberts, because I don't want people to think like it's recent. Like how biased are we feeling that Trevor's been this great?
Yeah. But I don't think anyone. I feel like at this point everyone knows what Dak is. Everyone knows what Kirk and Derek Carr are. So we see Trevor Lawrence this upside and him as a prospect coming into the league. I don't think it's that far fetched to be saying Trevor Lawrence.
I'm gonna be honest. Trevor Lawrence was a generational prospect. He was supposed to be what he is right now.
Correct.
Anybody that thinks that we're crazy for taking Trevor over the names that we're taking him over have not been watching what Trevor's been doing this year. And next year when he gets Calvin Ridley, he's going to be even better. I mean, he has he probably has the best pocket presence in the NFL. He's big time. It's simple as that. He's big time.
Best pocket presence in the NFL?
Yeah, Funko just taking Hurts over Trevor Lawrence.
One of the
Really?
He is.
One of is 100%
Said
correct.
my Eagles. That was so nuts.
I was crying at that.
Bengals and Bucs. Now, this was another game that the team that was up 17 points blew.
Yeah.
And the Bengals beat them 34-23. The Bucs were up 17-3 at halftime. At one point, it was 17-0. The Bengals 10-4 now, first in the AFC North. The Bucs 6-8. Dehls, I want to get your thoughts on this game first, man, because
Let's talk.
I really just want to get your thoughts on the Bengals, man, because they're first in the AFC North now. This is a team that you called the fluke, man.
I did.
And now Joe Burrow, for my L's, y'all love to, Mr. Flipper Side, all these nicknames that
Matt
y'all call me
Ryan.
with.
Yeah.
Joe Burrow, I ain't never flip.
Zach Wilson.
I ain't never flip on Mr. Joe Shiesty.
Without a doubt.
We debated this at this table many times. The Bengals fans, they hate it. I wouldn't even say they hated it. They was telling you the truth about what you was not seeing.
I got called some very nasty words.
You refused to see it.
Yeah. I'll talk about this game first, and then we could talk about the Bengals as a whole. This is a game the Bengals should have won. They did win, but I'm saying this whole comeback, I get it. It was great, phenomenal. The Bengals are a better team than the Bucs. I don't think it's that close. The roster is better. They're playing better football. The Bucs have been playing some ugly, ugly football basically this entire season. I mean, Tom Brady has not looked like the Tom Brady we once have seen in the past. And I know we've said, or I haven't, but you guys have said you can't count out Brady. Playoff time, don't count out Brady. We could count out Tom Brady. Unless they're playing Washington or the Commanders, we can count out Tom Brady.
Washington or the Commanders? I know.
Sorry, Washington or the Giants.
Uh-huh.
We can count them out.
You're not counting them out?
It's fine.
I'm not.
It's fine. You guys could do
It's
that.
Brady.
It's fine. They're not winning multiple playoff games. They're simply not. This roster is not built to withstand multiple playoff games against playoff caliber teams, physical teams that could score 30 points. They're not. We saw what the Bengals are. We know what the Bengals are. I said it a few weeks ago, a month ago on the Joel Moran pod. Shout out to Joel Moran. He's a good guy, good friend of mine. You should go check it out. Great podcast.
Yeah, sounds like a cool dude.
Really cool dude. But I said at that point, the Bengals are playing better football right now than the Ravens. That was before the Lamar injury. I think that was right after the Ravens and Jaguars game when the Jags came back and won that game. I saw it. The Bengals have been playing great football. The Bengals have been playing really since that week. Was it 2-3 against Dallas? That really seemed like what turned the tide for them. They've been going on a great run. Their only loss, I think, is to the Ravens, and they probably have one more in there that I'm not remembering. Great wins over the Chiefs, comeback win against the Buccaneers. So when you look at this Bengals team, I have them in Tier 1 AFC. They're there with KC. They're there with Buffalo. I mean, Joe Burrow, I said it, as much hate as I got, called Joe Burrow franchise quarterback last year. I called him top 10. This year, he's easily top 5. Without a doubt, you can make an argument for top 3. That's how good Joe Burrow has been. Even had an injury to Jamar Chase. He didn't miss a beat. T. Higgins, arguably best wide receiver 2 in the game. Him and Jalen Waddle neck and neck. This Bengals team has basically everything you can ask for to be a Super Bowl team. You have the franchise quarterback. You have multiple weapons. You have a defense that has been severely underrated year after year. Now, while I don't love Zach Taylor, he's already shown he can get to a Super Bowl. I don't have to love him. He has a track record, and he has proven he can get to a Super Bowl. And where I think people always misconstrue my argument of last year was in the playoffs, it's one game. Anything could happen. We saw the Commanders and Giants. If the Bengals get screwed on one play and they lose in the first round, that's the playoffs. Now, I don't think that's going to happen, but that was my main part of the argument. It's very, very difficult to get to a Super Bowl. It's even harder to go there 2 times in a row. In NFL history, you could probably count on one hand how many teams have gone back to the Super Bowl after they just won it or even just lost it. So the Bengals right now look like a tier 1 team in the AFC. I don't think any team in the AFC, the Chiefs, damn sure the Chiefs do not want to see this Bengals team. You can make the argument they're the best team in the NFL right now, especially with Jalen Hurts out. You can make the argument they're the best AFC team right now with having Kansas City's number for the last 2 years. Buffalo, who obviously still a Super Bowl caliber team, I still think they're a little bit below Cincinnati the way they're playing. They're on fire right now. Buffalo, I feel like there's some more weaknesses you can expose than Cincinnati. This is a team, it's Super Bowl or bust. This is a team that could go right back to the Super Bowl. They could win it this year even. And credit to Joe Burrow, credit to Cincinnati. They have a great team.
God, Joel, I know you have some thoughts.
I could never imagine counting out Joe Burrow, man. This Bengals. I'll tell you guys a story about me in my life. I've been watching football for a while now. Started back in 2008, 2009 for sure. When the Saints won the Super Bowl. That was like my first Super Bowl I watched. It was awesome. The Bengals in the 2010s, they had a stretch with Andy Dalton, AJ Green. They were very exciting to watch. I watched football with my dad all the time. They were usually a team that played on prime time. And my dad always told me that if there's a team I'd root for, it'd be the Bengals. And I said I like their uniforms a lot because he loved their uniforms. My dad was a fan of 2 teams for real. The Bengals and the Chiefs. He loved the Bengals and the Chiefs, Dalton and Alex Smith. And that's why, for me,
You just lie?
No, that's not a lie, bro. You can ask my dad next time we're in person. You ask him.
All right.
And for me, that's why, I always liked Alex Smith. Alex Smith is my guy back in San Fran, KC, going to Washington. He's always been my guy. I really like Alex Smith. And Andy Dalton has some good years with AJ Green. AJ Green was, one of my favorite wide receivers. Yeah, he was amazing. This game, the Bengals did not get anything going in the first half. And the Buccaneers controlled the first half. The Bucs ran a season-high 27 plays where they used motion, and they scored 17 points. In the second half, that went down to 13. I think the Buccaneers' problems really just stem from a bland offensive scheme. Last year they had so many explosive plays, and this year they don't have explosive plays. That's the Bruce Arians to Byron Leftwich effect. I think Bruce Arians' loss is not talked about enough. And in the NFL, we often love to talk about the quarterback. Tom Brady has not lost a step from last year. He's the same guy. It's just not the same system. If Bruce Arians was still coaching this team, I think their offense is still explosive. The offensive line depth that they've lost definitely hurts a lot, though. But I think Brady still has the same amount of talent that he had last year, in my opinion. But the second half is where everything changed in this game. The third quarter specifically. The Buccaneers go for a fake punt. I'm not even sure if that was communicated because Giovanni Bernard didn't even look like he was ready for it. And the Bengals got the ball. That was a field goal that they had, made it 17-6. Carlton Davis had a pass breakup on that drive on Jamar Chase. And Carl Davis, man, this guy lined up against Jamar Chase on 33 of 40 routes.
He did his thing.
Limited him to 3 receptions on 8 targets for 32 yards, 1 interception, and forced 5 tight windows. He was otherworldly. But then after the field goal, Brady interception to Trey Flowers. That led to a T. Higgins touchdown, made it 17-12. Then 3rd and 10, Brady fumble. 3rd and goal touchdown to Tyler Boyd for the Bengals, made it 20-17. Then Leonard Fournette, Brady miscommunication on the handoff, another fumble.
I wouldn't even say it was a miscommunication. I think Brady just lost control of the ball.
Yeah, Brady loses control, and going into the fourth, They get the 4th touchdown to Jamar Chase. They made it 27-17. And then Brady throws an interception to Jermaine Pratt. That was his 4th turnover of the game. And then the game was just over from there. It really was. It was a tale of two halves, and the Bengals just capitalized on a lot of Buccaneers' mistakes in the second half. Joe Burrow, he has 15 fourth-quarter touchdowns this year. That's the most of any quarterback in the NFL. Second is Tom Brady. He's the first player with 75 touchdowns and 10 rushing touchdowns in his first 40 games in NFL history. Joe Burrow, we know what he is. And I think you said it perfectly, Dehls. We know what the Bengals are. To me, I think they're coming out of the AFC this year. They're the most complete team. And the way they do it is very impressive, especially defensively. Trey Hendrickson is out. DJ Reader missed time this year. Your starting corners are Trey Flowers.
Hubbard's going to miss some time
also.
also.
Sam Hubbard is a huge loss. They just lost him. Awuzie is out for the year. Their depth has been able to keep their defense still at the top of the league. They lose these primetime players, and they still play at a high level defensively. I think that's what's most impressive to me about this Bengals team, that they're able to keep up their elite play despite losing key pieces defensively. I don't see that with other teams. Like, this team is special.
I am starting to worry about the injuries that they've had. Losing Trey, no Hubbard, Reader's going to miss some time, or has missed some time. I do worry, especially for the fact that Mahomes and company, they have been doing their thing all season long on the offensive side of the board. And defensively, yes, I'm not the hugest Kansas City Chiefs defensive fan. No, not by any means. But right now, they give up less yards per game than the Bengals. Not that stats mean everything, because I can use my eyes and I can see very clearly that the Chiefs' defense is not that good. But the injuries to the Bengals, I don't want to see them catch up to them, because I see the Bills. And I see the Bills obviously did lose Von Miller, but you do get back Trey White. He's going to need some time to get back into Trey White conditioning, to get back into that level of play. But the Bills can legitimately contend with anyone. I don't feel as confident in that statement of me saying the Bengals are the number one team in the AFC now, due to the fact of the injuries that I've seen. Joe Burrow has been fantastic, absolutely. But this was a cruising. A lot of turnovers near the Tampa Bay side of the field, that allowed the Bengals to have easy scores. Joe Burrow had 4 touchdowns, but only 200 yards passing. It was very easy for them to get into the end zone because of the mistakes that the Buccaneers were making in that second half. I like the Bengals a lot, and I don't want this to be as if I'm communicating that I don't believe that the Bengals can make another run. But right now, where the injuries are stacking up, I might just have to favor the Chiefs to go all the way to the AFC chip, or to the Super Bowl. It's just the most trustworthy thing right now. I only say that because the Bills can beat the Bengals, absolutely. That being said, it's going to be very tough for me to see the Bengals losing to anyone not named Patrick Mahomes. And I understand Patrick Mahomes has had difficulty against the Bengals, has not beaten Joe Burrow. But I just can't see it happening again in the playoffs, especially with the fact that this defense has taken hits over these last couple of weeks, and Mahomes is going to show up. But credit to the Bengals, absolutely, probably going to win the division, and by probably, most definitely going to win that division, locking a home game. They've been great. And to speak about the Buccaneers real quick, you said it very perfectly. Without Arians, this offense is not the same. Brady, he does not look the same as he did last year. No way, no how. You could say that he's maybe the same guy for sure, but he just seems a little bit more frazzled. And it's not because of him. It's because his offensive line. He's had a for sure offensive line with the Buccaneers his first 2 years there. This is the first year where Brady's really having to maneuver himself in the pocket to make plays that he hasn't had to make in years. It's not on Brady as more so the offensive line and the system that he is in, but this is not the same Brady that we've seen due to circumstance. But again, you can't count them out. They still have the talent. You spoke on Carlton Davis. He had an amazing game. Levante David, still Levante David. Maybe not be the same athletically, but he's still one of those guys that you do have to respect. That defensive unit has been solid. Hasn't been anything all world, but still good enough to win you ball games. This, I can't blame on the Buccaneers defense. I'm blaming it on the Buccaneers offense giving the ball away in circumstance where they can just take over and get easy scores. The Buccaneers are not a great football team by any means right now, and by no means am I saying that they're a contender. But this, I'm letting it be known that this team is still talented enough to win a game in the playoffs.
Like I said, they could beat Commanders. They could beat the Giants.
There's a
Would
reason.
you take Detroit or Tampa Bay?
I can't feel confident taking the Buccaneers.
Okay. Minnesota?
I'm such a hater.
Tampa Bay would have to be in Minnesota. I'm not sure that moves anything. But
It would be an amazing game that I would not be shocked if Brady won.
There's a reason why right now I'm wearing a Bengals shirt. Welcome to the jungle, baby.
Tough shirt.
Shout out to the game day.
Instagram?
Nice shirt.
Oh, game day?
Oh, yeah. That's a game day shirt, yeah.
Joe Burrow also got bailed
Shout
out.
out to the commissioner, yeah.
He took one of the worst sacks you will ever see in the NFL, and he got bailed out, I think, on like a defensive holding or some shit.
Who did?
Joe Burrow.
Oh, word.
That 30-yard sack.
That was ridiculous, bro. I was like, come on.
Bro
This
thought he
guy
was like
literally
Justin
gets
Fields.
everything.
Nitpicking now.
I'm just saying it was
No,
a
that's
terrible,
not nitpicking.
It
It
was
was
a terrible
crazy.
decision.
Stop overanalyzing.
That would have put you were on the 20, you go to
Nice.
the 20 to 50.
I respect it. Hey.
Is it not facts?
You're overanalyzing the situation.
Bro was overanalyzing a game-winning touchdown drive from Jalen Hurts. I could overanalyze Joe Burrow's 30-yard sack.
That's fair. That's fair.
Nah.
Fuck you.
I like the game-winning touchdown. I think that, that drive was mostly Sanders, bro.
W's a W.
NFL Pick'em Week 16. First game up, Jaguars at Jets.
You know where I'm going, man. New York Football Jets.
Keep praying, man.
Don't need to pray.
Hoping and prayer.
Don't need to pray.
Going with the Jags.
I've actually been picking the Jets the
Motherfucking
last couple of
casual.
weeks. So I'm going to go with the Jaguars because
Okay.
I just reverse
Cool
jinx. But, the Jaguars have been playing well. I picked them against the Cowboys last week. I was the only one at the table to pick the Jags against the Cowboys.
Good shit, bro.
They won. So
Nice.
I think the Jags are hot. They're just a better team right now. They're playing better. But
Their
if
offense is
Zach
better.
has a vintage performance, if Zach has a great performance, we could win
The
this game.
Jaguars' offense is better and hotter.
Yeah, you're right. But the overall team, they've been also better.
Not their defense.
As a team, they've been better.
As a team, they've been hotter.
Their offense, yeah. Their defense, no.
As a team.
I don't know what that means.
As a team. Offense.
Who's the better
'cause-
team? If you're a team and you have to face the Jets or Jags, who don't you want to face more?
That Jets defense, man. I don't know. Zach Wilson, 300-yard game. Come on, bro. What are we talking about?
Falcons at Ravens.
I'm going with the Ravens. I think Lamar's back this week.
Is that confirmed?
It's looking
Trending up?
It's looking up that he will play.
If Lamar plays, I'll take the Ravens. If Lamar doesn't play, I'll take the Ravens.
I'm going with the Ravens. Listen, if you think Desmond
Raiders
Ritter's going to
still
have an
starting?
okay, if you think he's going to have a good game, you're wrong. The Ravens are going to shut whatever the Falcons do down. I think it's going to get bad. His inaccuracy is really bad. Lions at Panthers.
Detroit,
Lions are going to continue this
come on,
hot
man.
streak, man. Panthers are no slouches, though.
they're not. They just lost to the Steelers.
They did.
They've been playing better than.
I know. But come on.
That's
I'm
what I
going-
meant to
I'm
say.
going
That's
with the
what that's what I
Lions.
meant to say. I apologize if it came
You know,
out very wrong.
I said last week they're making the playoffs. Then they beat the Jets, and now they're going to beat the Panthers. They have the easiest road to make the playoffs.
This is a gimme for the Lions. Lions are going to win this game.
Seahawks at Chiefs.
Going with the Chiefs.
Yeah, I'm going with the Chiefs, too. The Seahawks have not been playing great football.
Haven't.
I'm going with the Chiefs as
Don't
well.
you love Saturday football? Oh,
It's so hot.
so stunning.
Saints at Browns.
Going with the Browns. Going with the Browns. I think Deshaun's starting to find his footing a little bit. I feel like he's gotten better each week.
I'm going with the Browns as well.
I'm not sure if the Saints' defense has just gotten better or they're facing worse competition, but their defense has looked better. The Browns' defense is vulnerable, but I do trust the Deshaun Watson factor, so I am going to go with the Browns. Texans at Titans.
Going with the Titans.
Going with the Titans as well. Must-win game against the worst team in the NFL. There's no excuse to lose this.
Texans, one of the worst rushing defenses in football. Derrick Henry
200.
should have
Have you seen his last
great
4
game.
games against?
Like 180, 200, 220.
Bro, it's 200 every game. Last 4.
Fantasy playoffs. This is where you need him the most.
He's
This is
gonna
where he
tweak.
delivers.
He's going to tweak.
I'm going with the Titans in this game.
Yo, man, real quick. Isn't it insane? It's kind of ironic. Derrick Henry traded to the team that unfortunately brought down your dynasty team, man.
They won them all.
Pride cometh before the fall. And I say that because you know why.
Traded for
Because
Travis
you
Kelce.
know
Ended up working
why.
out.
Hey, man.
Whose team would you rather have, mine or yours?
Oh, yours.
Okay.
It's not saying much. We're in the same
How many
position.
chips do you have in Dynasty?
Hey.
Let's keep it pushing, buddy.
Hey, you lost.
I have a chip. You don't. My team is insanely more better than you. It's not even a right phrase. It's not even close.
It's whatever.
Okay.
My team, when it was at its best, is definitely in strong competition with yours.
Yeah. It sucks. Just nothing came about it.
It's really unfortunate.
Bengals at
ruined
Patriots.
Christmas. Fucker. So Bengals at Patriots? Yeah, Bengals.
Going with the Bengals as well. They're Super Bowl contender, man. I've been trying to tell you guys for years about the Bengals, bro.
I'm also going with the Bengals. Giants at Vikings.
Playoff potential matchup?
I'm going with Minnesota.
I'm going to go with the Vikings also.
Come on, bro. This says pretenders, man.
Coming off a very emotional game. Giants are too, though, to be fair. The Vikings are the more talented team. They should win this game.
Giants on the road. They're kind of a problem. Thanks, man. Giants.
I like it.
Bills at Bears.
Bills.
Yeah.
I'm going with the Buffalo Bills, too.
Not much to talk about.
Commanders at Niners.
Sneaky good game.
It is sneaky good.
Must win for the Commanders.
Without a doubt.
And they're not.
I would be very surprised if the Commanders pull this game off.
Despite the Commanders winning, Taylor Heineke has been one of the bottom quarterbacks in the league statistically.
He's a backup.
Yeah. And I think the Niners are going to win this game. Brock Purdy has
I thought Heineke deserved his respect.
Yeah,
he does deserve his respect. He's been through a lot, man.
Backup.
He's been through a lot.
If Mike White's a backup, Taylor Heineke's certainly a backup.
Heineke's better than Mike White, bro.
Good Lord.
Eagles at Cowboys.
Going with the Cowboys, man. For a lot of the reason I said before, they got to put pedal to the metal, and I think this is one of those weeks they're going to do that.
If Jalen Hurts plays, I will be taking the Eagles. If Gardner Minshew plays, I'll be taking the Cowboys.
Either which way, I am taking the Cowboys.
Either which way, I'm taking the Eagles. The Gardner Minshew disrespect is going to stop Dehls.
He's a back. Jalen Hurts was the MVP, and Minshew's a backup.
Gardner Minshew is a starting level quarterback.
Why has he been a backup for 4 years?
Situation.
Can't win them all, I guess, right?
You know, Gardner Minshew's going to prove a lot to you this game.
Didn't you tell me he might take the job from Jalen Hurts at the start of the year?
I never said that.
I doubt it.
I never said that. This guy's crazy. This guy's crazy. This guy is crazy. He's crazy.
Oh, God,
Is he crazy?
No, he's crazy.
It sounds like something you would say.
It sounds very similar to something you would say. I'm not saying it's true.
That doesn't mean it's not a
Not
lie.
saying it's true.
I completely made it up.
Yeah, that's a lie.
You didn't
guy's
make it
crazy.
seem like it was a lie.
He could have easily said something along the lines.
We need to pick a side stance to go into the
At some point in
videos
the
and look.
offseason, he could have easily said something along those lines. Or he would have said, like, there's not going to be a big drop-off between Jalen Hurts and Gardner Minshew.
Well, we'll see this Saturday.
We will.
We'll see this
13-1 with Jalen Hurts. Let's see what they're with Gardner.
Raiders at Steelers.
Going with the Raiders, man. They've been playing some decent football, but hasn't always resulted in wins.
No,
but I think they win this
one.
one.
Raiders are in must-win. There's actually a 0.3% chance the Steelers make the playoffs. So, not dead yet, but I will take the Raiders.
I am going with the Steelers. Kenny Pickett is back. Raiders defense I don't like. I think this is going to be like a shootout type of game. I'm going with Pittsburgh in this one. Packers at Dolphins.
Going with the Finns. Must-win game for them.
Go with the Dolphins, too. At home, bounce-back game. We know when the Dolphins play average or below-average opponents, they usually smoke them.
This guy said a lot of facts in the chat. Minshew spot in Jacksonville was taken by Trevor Lawrence, the best prospect arguably in the last 20 years. And then Jalen Hurts.
Philly?
Come on, man.
This guy just said I hate Philly. Has this guy not watched the show all season?
I am going with the Dolphins. They should win this game. They should run the football all over Green Bay. But, man, would I love a Jordan Love versus Tua showdown. I'd love it. Aaron Rodgers, just give the job to Jordan Love. Let's see what the guy has. Please.
It's not happening.
Broncos at Rams.
Going with the Broncos.
It's time.
We won last week. What are you talking about?
Win streak?
Yeah.
Is Russ
calm? I pray. I need him to play, honestly.
I'll take the Broncos, too. Baker's going to struggle against this defense.
I'm going with the Broncos. Buccaneers at Arizona Cardinals.
I'm going with the Bucs. Cardinals just lost the Broncos.
No, I understand. I'm not really thinking about it. It's just a very ugly game. I'll take the Bucs.
This is a must-win game for the Buccaneers.
This is a must-not-watch game.
I got them winning this game. And prime time, Monday night. The Buccaneers Cardinals is actually Sunday Night Football.
Wait, sorry, say it again?
I think it's Sunday Night Football.
No, yeah, it is Sunday night.
It is, for real?
Yeah, we have the worst slate of games. And thank Christ the 1 o'clock game is good.
Monday night, Chargers at Colts.
Yeah, I'm going with the Chargers.
Yeah, Chargers.
I'm going with the Chargers, too. They should win this easily.
God, this
and that's
week
going to do it
sucks.
for
prime
our Week
time,
16 picks.
God, this game. Fucking Eagles, Cowboys. How was that not flexed in?
I don't know, man. But can we talk about how apparently I hate the Eagles?
You do, bro. You've been saying all
Oh,
year.
really?
Yeah, man.
Come on.
Can't like them all, bro. Come on, Giants,
I said they were
Cowboys.
I said they were.
You know, like the entire
Deadass.
division. My goodness.
You're a low-key Commanders fan.
No. But hey, I mean, I know good teams when I see them. It's really all that it comes down to. I said the Eagles were in a tier alone weeks ago. I called them the best team in football. I was the only one that did that.
Don't buy it.
Come on.
You gotta watch out for
the
this
only
guy,
one
man.
who's called the Eagles the best
We think
team.
we
At
think
the
it's
time,
Riv.
I did. I
We
was the only one that
think
did.
it's Riv who always has all these teams. Sometimes it's this guy.
Football
Unbelievable.
definitely drew.
That's not true.
You were in a Dolphins
I have
jersey
fun.
and a Broncos
I have
hat
fun.
the other day.
I like to rock gear. Sue me.
Riv took me aback. Riv took me aback last podcast episode when he was like, when we were talking about the Bulls and Knicks, and he was like, "You don't like to admit when you're wrong," and I didn't say anything at the moment, but I was thinking back when I was like, "Bro, Riv never admits when he's wrong."
He just does this.
No, that too, or he'll just goes, and he'll
Riv-
bring up a bad take of yours.
Riv will be like this. He'll be like this. I was wrong.
No, it's with Riv. It's always projecting. That's his biggest issue. So when we're like, "Well, you told me fucking Kate would be a superstar," I was projecting, bro. You know what I mean? Or he doesn't project.
Riv will be like, "I was wrong," and then not say why.
It'd be like, "Well, last year he wasn't this good," and then you know.
Oh my God, that's
Mr.
funny.
Brown.
Yeah, we missed
Hope
Riv
to,
on
hope,
the show.
hope to get him back, man.
Yeah, if you're wondering why he wasn't on the show today, it's because he's studying for some tests. That's
Shout out
why.
to Riv, man.
Yeah, he's
Bro's
got
locked
finals.
in.
Locking in. We gave him a shout out at the 3-hour and 2-minute mark on the show.
Hey,
And
deserved.
also, if you're still listening, that means that you're a diehard Pick a Side
Yeah,
fan.
shout out to you.
And that means that we're going to watch the Sixers and Knicks game on Christmas, Sunday, 12:30 game, Eastern time on playback. So if you guys want to watch it with us, then click the link in our bio, sign up to playback. That'll help us out a lot, and you can watch the games with us. Knicks are playing some good basketball.
Great basketball.
And
Eight in a row.
It's about two teams,
Eight in a
the
row.
Knicks and the Sixers, James
What
Harden.
about the Nets?
Oh, I love the Nets, too. I love me some Nets.
Bro, I was talking about him with the fucking Eagles, Giants, Cowboys. You
Whatever.
got the Sixers, Nets, and Knicks, bro.
I love me some Knicks. I think John got the Knicks and Sixers playback picture on the screen, so you guys know what to do. Join our playback. Last
Shout out.
playback
We had a
was our
blast.
best playback yet. And
was
Christmas,
live.
I think we should double it this Christmas for sure.
What was the last game we watched? Oh, Warriors.
The
right?
Warriors.
This game should be
Bucs.
good. Yeah. That's going to do it for episode 239 of the Pick a Side Podcast.
50
You can
coming up.
follow us on Twitter at Pick a Side Pod, on Instagram and TikTok at Pick a Side Podcast. Thank you guys so much for listening and or watching, and we'll see you next time.